This story began a long time ago, when in the Empire of Britannia, one ducal couple of the great Valentine family was worried. The noble couple loved each other very much, and as a result of their love they had 3 beautiful sons. However, Duke Valentine dreamed of a glorious daughter who would be like his beloved wife. Desperate after their 3rd son, the couple took in a girl, an orphan of their distant relatives, making her their adopted daughter. But in the year the couple brought someone else's child into the house, the Duchess unexpectedly became pregnant, and for the first time in 100 years, a girl was born into the Valentine family. But what happened to the orphan that the couple brought to their estate? The poor girl suffered years of bullying from their own daughter, but met a happy ending thanks to the main character. So the main character of this story is called Clara. What a shame. How could she end up in such a situation? As soon as the girl opened her eyes, she found herself in the body of a character from a novel. Isn't that something that only happens in movies? Judging by her appearance, she is now the younger sister of the main character, who is the main villain of this novel. Lucky, so lucky CL Valentine, an immoral, envious, rotten heroine, from whom the girl immediately began to feel sick. She was born the youngest daughter of the Valentine family, the most prestigious and wealthy family in Britannia, and was adored by her parents. Being the first girl in the family, Ciel was like a gift to them. She inherited excellent magical skills from her father. This girl had absolutely everything one could dream of, but even that was not enough for her. Why this particular snake? No amount of love or blessings could fill Ciel's all-consuming greed. It was never enough for her. Everything had to be just for her. Finally, the beloved little sister woke up. The soft voice of the main character was heard. She has such a welcoming aura. This girl is Clara. The baby slept well today. The sun's rays are already greeting the new day. The blonde girl immediately rushed to hug her older sister. She was attached to her, but it did not last long. Now they are 2 loving sisters, but everything will change in 3 years when Ciel will reveal his true nature. Then the younger brother, named Luis, will say that Clara is not a member of their family and was adopted by their parents. From that very moment, Ciel began to despise the main character and destroy her desire to live. The novel's villain has been torturing Clara for years, ridiculing her background, humiliating and hurting her. In order to destroy Clara and cause her unbearable pain, Ciel killed people without hesitation and without any pity. At the end of the storyline, for all her brutal crimes, the Valentine's only daughter was executed after a trial. Of course, the real Ciel is still a nasty thing, but now it's not her who is here, which means it's not the villain who is being executed. The little girl was so scared to sleep in her room alone today, she would like to sleep with her older sister. But what should they do? Then Clara can ask her mother for permission? Maybe they can sleep together. So what does the girl have at the moment, before Ciel has managed to secure a term and death sentence for herself? She entered the body of a 5-year-old girl before the envious and greedy monster could break out of her. According to the original plot of the novel, at the end of this story, the main character must meet the crown prince. With his help, Clara will find her long-awaited happy ending, but the main character was the object of Ciel's love. And then the villainess went to something terrible, which means she just needs to be a good girl, then she won't be executed in Ciel's body. After all, now the girl has such a chance to enjoy such a luxurious life, she should not miss it. All you need to do is not make fun of the main character and become a kind little sister to her. According to the plot, Clara is now only 9 years old, and she already began to take care of Ciel. She is like a ray of light. Even under the most brutal bullying from this psychopath, Clara never blamed Ciel. The main character always treated her with compassion, and why are older sisters always so blind to the younger ones? Why is my sister so spineless and stupid? Why didn't she refuse? Does she really like living like this? What's so hard about saying no, expressing your opinion? Her sister is a real idiot. They say that there are people who were unable to escape from the fire. Running back into the building, she saved everyone but herself. As a nurse, she dedicated her entire life to saving others. And these words were the last thing she managed to tell her then. But why is everything like this? Salty tears of despair and grief ran down the girl's cheeks, wondering why she was like this. So she will treat the main character well while being in the body of this villain. She will become a good sister to her. Ciel is so grateful for her older sister's care. When she grows up, she will definitely marry Clara. After all, she loves Clara more than anything. She loves the baby too. No one will mock the main character. The protagonist and heroine must meet their happy ending, and the newly minted villainess must help them with this. The maid squealed. But where did young Mistress Ciel rush off to? They haven't finished with the preparations yet. So 3 years have passed. Ciel is now 8 years old. The girl wants to visit her mother and will return soon. Should she go to the dressing room first? The original is about to start. She needs to find it quickly. The little girl began to quietly creep along the corridor and listen to every rustle. They were talking about Clara. What was the conversation about? The little villain knew it. Some characters are harder to remake, as is their original attitude towards Clara. Madame had her eye on a dress for Ciel's birthday, and the other one was hanging around for some reason. Why should she come if Lisbon had chosen the dress for her? She was only the daughter of a baron, and now she pretends to be a duke's daughter. It looks so pathetic. Not a single dress will change a low origin. What vile bastards they are. Evil tongues have always been and will be, but this is a real chance for the villain to rewrite her history and ending. Ciel will wear the same clothes as her beloved older sister for the festive celebration. Duchess Valentine, Evening Rose Valentine. Will the little one be wearing the same clothes as Clara this year? But this year the little sister wanted the same dress as their little girl, and the girl changed her mind. And in general, the girl herself will choose a dress for her little sister, and that's it. What will Clara do? Ciel listens only to her. However, Duchess Ivness cannot help but be pleased with this. Clara is so bright and kind. This has a good effect on Ciel as well. The more Ciel acts selfishly, the more people around her notice the purity and beauty of the main character. The little girl loves her mother very much, yes. Well, if her beloved older sister says so, then yes. The others will have no choice but to respect Clara with such favor from the Duchess. But the problem is with the servants. The head of the old staff is a certain Lisbon. Let the maid prepare the children for the celebration. This is the main six villain in the plot, hiding behind the blood loyalty of the Valentine family. She poisoned the orphan Clara. And Lisbon's attitude towards the main character has been taken over by the other servants. Ciel must intervene. If the girl does everything right, then Clara will have one less difficult test to face. Lisbon has prepared a dress for young Mistress Clara, so what have you prepared there? Among all their children, the Valentines singled out Ciel, their long-awaited daughter, their gift. She could not do this. But when all her vile deeds came to light, the parents had no choice, and so they met their tragic end. The maid, who helped the cruel Villainess in everything, was tortured to death and died in a ditch. From shock and the inability to accept her daughter's nature, the Duchess loses her sight, which is very symbolic. The second brother, who failed to admit his sister's guilt, the poor young man started a rebellion, which resulted in his death. The retribution was cruel and bloody. The main character begged the heir to the crown to spare Ciel despite everything. However, the future ruler could not spare the one who caused so much pain to his beloved. Ciel did not repent. She was blinded by desires and did not know the true value, although she justified herself with love for the crown prince. The most cruel end awaited the Villainess. The one who was always forgiven and allowed everything. No one felt sorry for her. However, now this story will have a completely different ending. The most gifted Crown Prince Alex, the youngest master of the sword, considered him his property. Ciel became obsessed with him. After all, she was always given the best, which meant Alex belonged to her, but the Crown Prince was the one who executed her. Ciel was chosen as a bride candidate, but then she called Clara a fraud, and after learning about her origin, Alex sympathized with her. It was because of the villain's persecution that the main characters became closer, which means everything needs to be done right. After all, it is today that these lovebirds must meet. Whatever dress Clara will wear, anyone that Ciel wants. Lisbon's face twisted. What a pleasant sight, that's wonderful. The baby will choose the best for her. This dress looks too simple. This color is dull. This will be hard to wear. Who brought this trash here? The clothes Lisbon brought for Lady Ciel were completely different, weren't they? Only those dresses that had long since gone out of fashion were brought here, where normal clothes were apparently behind a closed curtain. This curtain was pulled here intentionally to hide from Clara's eyes the beautiful dresses that were originally prepared for her. The maid rushed to the curtain. The young lady shouldn't open it. Well, that's what Ciel thought. There are much better clothes hidden here. As was to be proved, the problem with the outfit is solved. There are many beautiful dresses here. Clara will shine. The little girl pointed at the golden dress. It was incredibly beautiful and would suit her older sister very well. What does Clara herself think about this? What does she like? The young lady shouldn't do this. What did Lisbon meow? Ciel's sister will be at the party to congratulate her. The girl wants her to wear nice clothes. The maid dares to object to the will of her mistress. For some reason, Ciel feels that Lisbon does not want this. No, in no case, since this is the will of Lady Ciel, what a blatant lie. It would have been better if Clara's clothes had been beautiful from the start, but does a sister have a right to these clothes? After all, Madame Lisbon chose so diligently, yes, she worked hard, and it's Ciel's birthday. How could Clara do that? Among Clara's family members who died in the accident was a child who was 2 years younger than her. Of course, Ciel loves his older sister very much and wants the best for her. And at Ciel's birthday, Clara must be the most beautiful. If she doesn't want to upset the girl, it's clear to her. For the main character, Ciel is now, instead of that dead child, let her little sister promise to conquer everyone with her beauty. The girl will do everything to protect this bright and unhappy girl and will become a real family for her. The maids burst into the room. Ciel promised to return soon. She lost track of time. They were having so much fun with her sister. Once the question of the dress for the festive celebration has been resolved, the little girl will go and get ready herself. The little villain sat down to do her hair before her birthday. This red bow suits her so well. Finally, the young lady's hairstyle is ready. The hero of today's celebration is so beautiful. It's crazy how the maids showered Ciel with compliments. The baby is so adorable. Meryl is too concerned about Ciel. The maid just loves her very much. Her little mistress is precious after all. If you indulge a child in everything, he will grow up to be a disgusting person. For reference, everything should be done in moderation. The young lady sometimes speaks as if she were an adult, and she is, so that Meryl would not dare to make fun of Clara. And here is the most beloved daughter in the world. Duke Valentine has arrived. Finally, the baby is ready for the holiday. Here comes Daddy. The maids immediately bowed politely before the head of the duchy. The father joyfully lifted the baby into the air and spun her around on his head. Little Emerald. No matter how much you look, the father's eyes can't get enough of it. The Duke warmly hugged his daughter to himself. Is it possible to be so cute? Ciel wants to go to her little sister's. She will be very beautiful today. So that's how it is. And the little girl will go to her older sister together with her dad, of course. Ciel loves her daddy. He is the best. The Duke walked the girl to her sister's room and knocked on the door. A disgruntled Lisbon tugged at the hem of the main character's dress. Unfortunately for her, Clara had chosen a gold outfit. Well, how are things with Clara? She's already ready to go to Ciel's birthday, of course. Well, the main character is so beautiful. Ciel has the best sister. The baby embarrasses Clara. Don't say that. However, there is definitely one detail missing from Clara's image, the machinations of this Lisbon again. This woman is ensuring herself a very unbearable old age and an early retirement. Sister's neck looks very empty. It would be better to put on an accessory. What does Daddy think? We need to choose something. As a man, Duke Valentine would be better suited to this task than girls, and amethyst would be very suitable for Clara. Where did Lisbon put that amethyst necklace she gave me last week? Let the maid bring this necklace and put it on Clara's neck. Lisbon gritted through her teeth as the master pleases. This snake has no idea who she's dealing with. Ciel brought the couple here specifically so Lisbon wouldn't dare hurt Clara. The baby has the best daddy. He is so kind and caring. Ciel will never leave him. Clara lowered her head obediently. Lisbon reluctantly began to fasten the necklace on her. Ciel wants his sister to be happy. All members of the Valentine family must be happy. This is the baby's main dream. The little villainess immediately grabbed the main character by the hand and dragged her to the celebration. Today, they will meet. Ciel will do everything to make the main character happy, and all the members of this wonderful family too. Wow, when the servants manage to prepare the estate like this, everything just sparkles. What a miracle. There were so many people at the Valentine's youngest daughter's birthday party today. Well, of course, all the people came to the estate today to congratulate their charming Ciel. The little girl should enjoy her holiday and not worry about the mood of the main character. So the hero of the occasion came with Clara after all, and here is brother Theo, as always, pretending to be an impregnable fortress. The little villainess smiled and immediately rushed to hug her brother, letting Ciel get off him. Ciel is at it again. She wants to visit Noise. His little sister is small, so she can do anything, and Clara is there too. However, Theo's attention was drawn to the dress that Clara is currently wearing. It is incredibly beautiful. Ciel chose it. So that's how it is. Theo is a noble and honest supporting character. He always helped Clara and never married in his entire life. And after Theo handed his younger sister over to court, he simply disappeared with his family. He only wishes the best for Clara. There are few like him here. Of course, it is clear that Theo loves Clara. She is the love of his life. But alas, the main character is destined for the crown prince. And here are Isaac and Louis. Again, the little sister only goes with Clara and upsets her beloved brother, well, as always. Seal didn't want to upset her little brother. Instead, she would dance with him. Dancing with such a princess is an honor for Isaac. This golden dress suits Clara very well. Today she hears a lot of compliments thanks to Ciel. In the original story, one could not even dream of such a friendly and warm family, but any story can change. But for what reason was the wayward girl late for her own party? What did that brat say, that is, Brother Louis? The parents came forward to their guests and took their long-awaited daughter by the hand. This day is a real holiday for them. The Duke and Duchess of Valentine would like to express their sincere gratitude to all the guests who came to share their joy. And today, His Serene Highness the Crown Prince decided to attend the celebration of their charming daughter. Everyone disperse. The Crown Prince of the Empire, Crown Prince Alex, has arrived, and here is the main character of the novel. Everything is on schedule. What is the little one staring at? Brother Isaac needs to intervene. Brother Louis is bullying Ciel again. He's jealous because he also wanted to wear a dress. What the hell? Isaac and Ciel had a good-natured laugh at their brother Louis, and now it's time for the birthday girl. The girl extended her little hand. She needed to come out and greet her guests. His Majesty, Emperor Gregory III, ordered to congratulate the treasure of the empire on its 8th anniversary and to give him a gift. Alex's weakness, his pedigree. The emperor was not married and nothing was known about the heir's mother. The temple confirmed that Alex was the emperor's biological son, but many were outraged by the color of his hair. Even being with Clara will not improve his situation, but his sister's happiness is above all else. This is a gift from the emperor. Miss Valentine should accept it personally. Let her sister have it. Why? Isaac apologizes. Ciel is still a baby. Alex entered the academy with honors at her age. It's hard to consider her a child. It's wonderful. For Alex, Ciel is now stupid. He will definitely like the beautiful Clara. The Crown Prince is talking to young Lady Valentine now. Let her come and take her gift. What the... Even if the little girl wants to bring the main characters together, she cannot protest so openly. It will end in execution. Ciel is touched by the kindness of the Empire's son and is grateful to his son for his visit and birthday wishes. Okay, give me your box already and get going to your destiny before Ciel steps on his foot. My sister is a very kind and smart girl. She's just worried about the holiday, which means Ciel follows Clara everywhere. Here, Duke Valentine intervened. Since it was a gift from His Highness, she should open it. Isn't that right? Why is my dear daughter hiding there? Stell sighed and opened her gift. What was there this time? A magic wand that grows according to the magical abilities of its owner. A legendary item, Levitain. Stunned by such a gift, the parents stared at their daughter, so that's where this artifact came from in the story. Ciel has outstanding magical abilities. It was difficult to find an owner for her. They thought that Miss would be able to handle the wand. The Duchess blushed with pride. Maybe her girl would now show what she had recently studied. The villain is indeed an outstanding witch, but now in her body there is another... she can tell them a joke. After the inhabitation, the magical powers of this body have been reduced, but it is worth a try, Ciel sincerely wishes. So that the main character would walk along the flower path, the hall would be enveloped in magic, and everything around would be illuminated by magical rays. The girl's cheeks immediately flushed with pride. Oh well, she really did it. How to do it correctly, you need to wave your magic wand. Ciel swung it like a sword, a cue. Oh, the main character squealed in fear. She was almost blown away by strong gusts of wind. What the... The little girl threw aside her gifted wand and rushed to help her sister. Here, the strong hand of the main character intercepted the girl. It is too dangerous. The young lady should not go there. Come on, quickly take your hands off her. She grew up in a real slum. It's clear to this sugar daddy. What? I mean, she'll help Clara. The little villain ran up to the main character. The little sister must have been very scared. It's okay, Ciel is a real genius. Yes, she's very sorry. Well, and his main character looks so intently in their direction. Apparently that's how Clara hooked him. What a relief. Since everything worked out, let the guests continue the party. Ciel needs to rest. The best father in the world will deal with all the consequences, and she has already danced with her beloved brother Isaac. She dealt with the impudent Louis, her beloved Clara adopted. Ciel stepped on his foot. Ouch. His foot. Now all that remains is the most important thing to bring the Crown Prince into the hall when Clara is dancing. However, there is one significant problem. Ciel has already searched the entire estate and has no idea where Alex is. And why did the main character leave so quickly? The ball had just begun, and she only left for a minute for Isaac. Where is her beloved little sister? Ciel loves this family madly and does not want to upset them, but she needs to find the crown prince. The road ends here. If she doesn't find the main character, she will have to return without him. Here, the little villain's eyes fell on long curtains, and this was a great idea. Well, what can you say? This was the only option left for her, so she had no choice. Of course, she wouldn't want to ride on vines here in a ball gown, but she needs to bring the main characters together. But then the girl's leg slipped from the tightened knot. Ciel lost her footing and flew down. There was a crash. The girl fell to the ground. It was painful, and Clara doesn't even know what she did for her. Fortunately, it was only the second floor, but it would be better to check with the doctors later. Footsteps were heard. Who was there? Come on, he's the main character, but what is the young traitor doing at such an hour? All alone in the garden, picking apples? Why are you bothering him? Well, what can you come up with? You need to somehow drag the heir to the empire back into the hall. Ciel got lost and fell from the terrace. Could the crown prince take the girl to her older sister? A young lady got lost in her own house. There are more than 10,000 square meters, and what kind of rope is like from a prisoner's cell? What a nasty thing. Ciel just wanted to go to Clara in secret from her least beloved brother, and was afraid that she would be noticed. Apparently the girl loves her very much. Clara is the best and most beautiful, the prince noticed. Ciel will marry her when he grows up. It will be difficult to do this with a sister. Alex heard that Clara is adopted, but Ciel is so devoted to her. Of course, Clara is her sister. Nothing has changed. Ciel really wants her to be happy. That is, in Miss Valentine's opinion, her older sister is not happy now. Well, what can you say here? She doesn't fully understand what the main character feels, but her happiness began with Alex. It's already quite late for a stroll in the garden, so the heir to the empire escorts the birthday girl back to the celebration. Ouch, the little villainess grimaced. Her leg hurts really badly. Ciel will connect these two by any means necessary. Apparently, the girl twisted her ankle when she fell from the terrace and now cannot walk on her own. Therefore, the future ruler could not carry her to the hall. What, he is her horse, a heavy draft or something. Well, Ciel's legs hurt so much, she can't take a step without the help of the crown prince. How annoying it is. Well, okay, if the crown prince doesn't want to help the girl so much, she'll crawl to the hall herself. Here the main character exhaled heavily and turned his back to her. What was he doing? Why did Miss Valentine freeze? The carriage has been served to the hall. Let her jump in. Alex will carry her to her older sister. Why would the crown prince agree so quickly? Ciel doesn't know what Alex will experience, but the main character will definitely be happy with him, so his fate is sealed. A frightened Clara immediately ran out to the young villainess, wondering where the little girl had gone. She was so worried about her. The main character fell to her knees in front of her. Ciel was fine. She didn't hurt anywhere. She got lost. But the crown prince saved her. How did it get lost? His Highness is so kind and strong, Clara noted that, didn't she? Here it is, the long-awaited meeting of the two main characters. Clara bowed gratefully to the heir to the throne. She is so grateful that the crown prince returned her little sister to her. It seems that Miss Valentine values Clara very much. The girl's cheeks immediately turned red. That's right, the little girl really treats her older sister very warmly. And in general, Ciel is an unusually sympathetic and kind child. Stop talking about the villain, let them get closer already. The main character is truly happy that she became an older sister to such a charming girl. Clara put her hand on Ciel's head, and her charm and beauty have no equal in the Empire, what she does. 2 years later, in the Valentine Duchy mansion, the main character was sitting in her office. Then Ciel burst into the room and stepped on Louis's foot. How much is too much? How much is too much? Well, how did your sister's lesson go? Today, Ciel beat Louis in the numbers game. The little one is really good at counting. Louis immediately exploded. Ciel is such a coward. He will ask his mother to change the teacher. They only study what their parents' favorite is good at. What a snitch. And anyway, the little villain came here to take Clara to one place. The boar goes with them or what? Of course the older brother will go with Ciel because she will cause chaos again. What's with the expression on this boy's face, and why does he keep talking about how Clara is adopted? Come on, hurry up, they need to go that way, there's only a little bit left. What does Clara think about this place? Ciel worked enthusiastically. This will be their shared garden. Last time the girl saw the main character come here all alone. After being bullied by the real Ciel, Clara discovered her talent, and it was time to awaken it. If this place is really what Big Sister likes, then Ciel wants to decorate it. The main character's cheeks immediately flushed. It was because of her that the little girl decided to take care of this place. Well, of course, not for Louis's sake, it's just that CL loves Clara very much. How dare the little one leave her brother in the field? It's good that a worker stumbled upon him. Louis is just in time. He is much stronger than his sisters. He can lift heavy things. The brother immediately turned up his nose. Well, of course, he is great, no doubt. Louis is the best. Let the little guy continue. On this basis, CL wants to borrow the power of his great older brother. In order to create a beautiful garden in this place with her help, Louis will help? Why should he do it? Louis looked around. The little one saw a bull in him. There was more than a hectare of land here. And all this, in CL's opinion, should be plowed by her older brother. Even greatness has its limits. The little one dragged him here on purpose and dumped all the hard work on Louis. Is it really that obvious? This is her little revenge. Stop wasting her greatness. Where did CL get the hoe? The workers lent it to her. Everyone is just waiting for the actions of the great brother, Mr. Pride of the Valentine family. Sir Louis is the best. While the bulldozer is working, they can select seedlings, let them build a maternity hospital here. Louis will probably raise his children here and grow old. Could it really be that Clara did this? This is her awakened talent. It's just amazing. The cheeks of the deflated girl immediately flushed red. She was very pleased with the praise. The Duchess heard about the new garden, and in just 2 months the girls had arranged everything so beautifully. Clara studied medicinal herbs and found some that were suitable for Louis, who had an upset stomach. Well, Clara is amazing. She did a great job here. Let her mother confirm it. Why is Clara standing there? Let her quickly go and hug them with her mother. How can she do that? Duchess Valentine extended her hand to her adopted daughter, telling Clara to come here quickly. The Duchess is grateful for the care of her little brother. She will always support the girl. Let Clara just say so. And she shouldn't feel like a stranger in this house. Clara is also her daughter, by the way. It's already time for the season to change. Clara needs to prepare for her debut in social circles, and it's worth choosing an appropriate outfit. Wait, what did Mother just say? What other debut for the main character? There was nothing like this in the original storyline. What's going on? Clara is only 14 years old. Seal couldn't sleep after hearing this. Could the storyline of the novel really change? And this means only one thing: if the villain continues to change her fate, then the overall future of the plot will change. To gain independence, Clara sold medicinal herbs and was almost sold as a bride to a villain. But in reality, the scoundrels were targeting a flower she accidentally grew, which was a hallucinogenic drug. It was then, according to the storyline, that the main character saved his beloved. It was only after the Valentine family had gone through a lot of trouble that Clara was allowed to make her debut. However, the future of the novel changed with the rebirth of the main villain. And if CL's influence changes this reality, then she won't be able to know what will happen next. First, you need to write down everything that was in the original plot. The girl managed to awaken Clara's talent. If the main character is in danger, the question arises as to when the Crown Prince will be able to save her. And will there be a similar situation? Will Clara be in that alley? Or is something else waiting for her now? So, no matter what CL was thinking, she needed some kind of protective device just in case. And it is for this reason that it is necessary to start building a common front right now. And here is Brother Theo. CL adores all his brothers, but each one in a different way. We need to start with him. And what is the beloved and pious Theo doing here? Just walking in the garden. And what does CL need? Why is it necessary right away? She saw her own eyes. If she was going to bother Theo, he would take her to play with dolls with other girls. CL has a question. If their father is absent during Clara's debut, then who will accompany her? Why is my sister even asking something like that? You never know what could happen during this time. The little villain would have been calm and happy if Clara had been accompanied by her brother Theo. Of course, it would be better if her brother Isaac joined her and her sister. Then Clara's position would be stronger. Wait a minute. All this talk about Clara's situation, does CL really know everything? Does he know that she is not their biological child, but adopted? However, her brother's words did not cause any emotion on the little villain's face. Theo means what their brother Louis said. He probably told everyone about it, didn't he? Theo's emerald eyes immediately lit up and began to peer closely at his sister's reaction. This charming and valiant knight will not see envy and hatred in them this time. She loves Clara no less than he does. So they need to make one thing clear. More than anything else, CL doesn't want Clara to be treated with contempt. Therefore, if suddenly someone dares to offend her, the girl will not remain silent on the sidelines and will hit the scoundrel, that is, defend her honor. Theo is surprised to hear such untypical things from Ciel. Let his brother get used to it. By the way, did the brother see the main character Clara heading to the glass garden? Well, what does dear Clara think? This dress is incredibly beautiful. The girl really likes it, and the color reminds me of a rose from the garden. Mother used all her skills to ensure that Clara outshone everyone on her first appearance in society. Father was also looking forward to Clara's debut, but will not be able to attend due to urgent matters. In the original story, Duke Valentine was stuck in a heavy rain while returning from a business trip. Even if there is a difference in time or process, all the content of the original still occurs. If the young debutante is joined by two brothers and her mother, she and Louis will remain at home. And his beloved brother did not forget what Ciel asked him for. But for what? Anything for the princess. Only brother Isaac will arrive a little later. He needs to check on the affairs of the nightly detachment. Well, as the son wishes, just let Isaac not be too late or delayed. Well, of course, Ciel will remain in charge. The children began to smile and wave their hands. After the doors slammed shut, the children looked at each other conspiratorially. Now, Ciel will get ready. The little villain quickly put on a formal dress and made two charming ponytails. What a cute little sister. Is it legal to be so charming? Isaac is her favorite brother, he knows. The little girl has definitely thought it all through. Ciel really wants to get into the Imperial Palace at any cost. When the girl thinks about not seeing her sister's debut, she can't eat. Isaac can't stand her hunger. But if the parents find out, then Isaac will be the one in trouble. And what else can he do since their princess wants it? Brother Louis rolled his eyes in boredom, which meant that the little thing would still get into the palace despite all the instructions. Louis is already waiting for the consequences. It's just a pity that Isaac will get it and not her. And won't Louis himself go with them? Here, Brother Louis's face instantly changed. Excitement appeared in it. Well, here again that strange grimace. Why go with them if Louis doesn't care? He won't tell his mother? It would be enough to just keep quiet. By the way, what is known about the Crown Prince? He appeared today at their sister's debut, as he should have. His lordship, Alex recently went abroad on a mission, but soon he will officially become a crowned prince. If Alex became the ruler, the empire would be very lucky. But the situation in the palace is extremely difficult. After the news of Alex's birth from an unknown woman, the emperor suddenly announced that he would not raise an empress. However, the position of empress cannot remain empty for long, and it was taken by His Majesty's vile and rotten sister, Princess Lotta, beloved of Archduke Winterbaum, a woman who returned to the palace after the death of her husband. Her son Seth is treated like a prince as Alex's birth is in question, and so is the succession to the throne. The palace is divided into two factions, Princess Lotta and Crown Prince Alex, and this woman will do anything. To make her child an emperor, Lotta is so disgusting and immoral that it cannot be said that she will fulfill it. And now Ciel is more than ever happy that she is not the main character of this story. This snake is really dangerous. I wish I could take her and send her to a bag factory, which the princess said she was glad to see the palace. They must not be seen by their mother. Let them come in through the back door. Ciel is guarding Louis, yeah. The penetration was successful. Now it remains to make the debut of the main character smooth and pleasant. Here, Brother Louis suddenly pulled his sister by the hand. What is he doing? She hasn't stepped on his feet for a long time. There is some man there. Some mustachioed man dropped to the ground and began to bury something in the imperial garden. What the? Well, maybe a person decided to plant roses here, to leave his mark on the palace. Well, of course. After the stranger disappeared, the brother immediately rushed to his hole. He went crazy. They could be noticed. They are children, Valentine's children. Nothing will happen to them. So what kind of drawings are these? Louis was counting on treasures. He is already rich. Come on, give me these sheets of paper quickly. This all looks very serious, especially since they tried to hide it. Wait, this is a dossier of candidates for the post of the next Minister of State, but why hide something like that? Why is Ciel digging around there? They might be noticed. Guards walk around here every 5 minutes. What are these kids doing here? They're in trouble. 3 years have passed since the main character began working in the civil service on the orders of his father, and it has been quite some time since the Crown Prince began to act officially. However, if the future ruler marries the heiress of Duke Valentine, then he will have sufficient rights. He never says anything without reason. If Alex chooses Ciel, he will receive powerful support from her father. That girl said that she loves her older sister very much, but is that possible? It's so strange. Then in the garden, a girlish squeal of a little villain was heard. What was going on there? Alex rushed to help. The mustachioed man was squeezing the girl's hand tightly, quickly removed his claws, let her give him the papers, let the cockroach not even dream of it. He quickly took his hands off Louis's little sister, and she always knew that he loved her. He was just pretending. These little bastards, the man will finish off these little rats, well, let him risk his life. The scoundrel immediately backed away in fear, wondering what His Majesty Alex was doing here and what Count Reuben was doing. The guys are okay, no one got hurt, just a little bit more, and CL would have torn this cockroach apart, of course. In fact, if the brave and loyal Louis, she would have died, Alex should look at these documents. The protagonist picked up the buried evidence, and Count Reuben immediately screamed. The Count can explain everything, it's all a mistake, that is a big misunderstanding. Where did the Valentines discover this? These papers were buried over there in the ground. This cockroach brought them here and started burying them. This girl is lying. Count Reuben doesn't know anything, the man will just take these papers and that's it. Okay. Of course. And as soon as his fingers touch these papers, he will immediately lose his head. Wow, that's some energy. Louis was also great, a grumbler, but still so brave and noble, he got it. They could have simply given these papers to the Count, but they are as important as can be, and the lady knows their contents. Here is all the evidence of corruption of the newly elected government minister, and that is good. Then the Marquis of Romford cannot be elected as the next statesman. Why is this good for the Crown Prince? But the Marquis is the biggest threat to Alex's power in the future. How old is she anyway? And how does this girl know that behind the Marquis of Romford stands his vile Aunt Lotta? The Crown Prince must formally thank Miss Ciel, let those two continue. Louis did nothing wrong. And Louis too. Let the lady do the honor of accompanying her, but no need, that is, Alex must leave them here alone. Time to report the documents, let the Crown Prince dance with her sister. Ciel will sort this out. Oh, Louis is still here. It's so beautiful here. Ciel also wants to debut quickly. These adults are so cruel. So let him not be distracted by what Ciel just said. What corruption. She has been in politics for a long time. Those papers were strange, so the prince should tell his father about them. Ciel said that he should hand over the cockroach. Not at all. Here the main character was let in by her two brothers. How cute they are. What a joy to the eyes. The girl's cheeks immediately flushed. So much attention. All the guests were of noble origin. What place did she have here? It feels like she's marrying off her daughter, who Ciel is carrying. So it's so touching and exciting. The first dance will be with Theo's brother, of course. He was accompanying her. Stop being smart, Rambo. Who? It doesn't matter. The girl puffed out her cheeks in resentment. What kind of meanness is this? Why now? After all, the main character is so beautiful and graceful in dance, her destiny should have spoken to the Emperor right now. And in general, Ciel has a bad feeling. Brother Louis and little Ciel are probably hungry, and here is beloved Isaac. Isaac has collected a little bit of everything here so that the guys don't go hungry. He's the best, it's a cake. They've already managed to help the Crown Prince. But Brother Isaac told the boys not to do anything dangerous to themselves or others. But Louis became a true hero today. One of Alex's enemies will now disappear, but then how will the love affair between the main characters be built? Whether it will benefit the overall plot and Ciel's fate, the atmosphere between Theo and Clara has become so warm. Well, finally, I've talked enough, and here comes the main character inviting his beloved to their first dance. What? The Crown Prince invited them, Clara? Isaac hit his head in surprise. It must have hurt. But the Crown Prince is known for not liking balls, and even less dancing at them. Well then, he'll get used to it, now these two will be connected. The villain's future is saved and her role is fulfilled. You can just enjoy everything. So stop! Why is the main character pointing his finger at Ciel? They couldn't have noticed her. Wait a minute, now the main character is coming straight here. What's wrong with her face? Why is she so unhappy? How did Ciel end up here? The girl nervously swallowed a piece of cake, well, on their family carriage. The main character pulled the baby to her. She almost got into trouble. If it weren't for Louis, Ciel could have suffered. What happened there anyway? Why did the little girl come here to watch her sister's debut? The little miss quickly found her older sister, as did the Crown Prince himself. Well, why did the future ruler hand the girl over to her sister? She knows that she is talking to the Crown Prince. Clara is grateful. She now knows that her little ones are here. It was Alex's duty, but he's just a snitch. Ciel is growling or something. No. It was the girl's stomach that was rumbling. But here was her older brother Theo. He was grateful to his lordship for his concern. So the younger ones came here secretly. The children started whistling and looking around. Theo had already called a carriage. Isaac wouldn't slip away either. Well, the little villain didn't even finish watching the main character's first dance. The main character extended his hand to the girl. They will go together so that the young lady does not get lost. However, the main character is truly beautiful in soul and body, and such thoughts cannot be allowed. Now it is clear why the real CL was so envious of the main character and jealous of this young man. Feelings are a dangerous thing. This guy is not meant for her anyway, so it's time to switch. It would be problematic if the children were to catch the eye of Duchess Valentine. Louis would get away with it and blame it all on CL, and nothing would happen to her. Sweetie, let the main character come to visit them next time for cake. Alex will pay them a visit soon. Well, that was quite simple. In that case, the little villain will be looking forward to it very much. Seal is completely fine thanks to Louis. His brother fought like a lion, without thinking for a minute about his own safety. Why is Isaac so worried their little sister is too cute? And what if His Majesty falls in love with her? It's just impossible, what a bastard, but in the original, Alex really doesn't care about CL. The brothers have nothing to worry about. The heir to the throne will definitely not fall in love with her, Louis agrees. Louis is going to get it now. Let him take care of his legs. Hey, he was just a hero. Glory is fleeting. Meanwhile, the main character looked in amazement at his hand, in which the little villain's palm had recently been lying. Several years ago, the Emperor praised the mercenary king for defeating the Archdragon and awarded him a title. Thus, he became Archduke and husband of Princess Lotta. After his death, she left the Winterbaum estate. The widow married the king of mercenaries for the sake of her empire, as well as his vast fortune. This also brought Princess Lotta popularity among commoners and some nobility. Even now, my aunt has enormous support, which even the Emperor cannot do anything about. This is the reason why the question of the right of succession to the throne still arises. But this time Alex was lucky. He would have had a hard time if Romford had become a minister, being a supporter of Lotta. With these documents, a lot can be changed. This is Crown Prince Alex. Let the sun come in. Alex did a great job yesterday. The Emperor and I can't even think of the Marquis of Romford. This is a stab in the back. How could this greedy coward dare to betray the trust of his Emperor? Alex apologizes. He had to make a report in a hurry. His son has nothing to apologize for. Since the problem originated from his rotten sister, Lotta can't do anything about it anymore. And soon the Emperor will be able to officially crown his son as successor to the throne. However, the main character thinks that the official coronation will be hasty, which the son's origins have always held him back, and he is certainly gritting his teeth as he waits to become the heir to the throne. And he would never have given up his rightful place, so why did his son suddenly become modest? The future ruler still lacks a lot. They should start preparing for the engagement. Today the sun rose from the west or something. Wait a minute, did the sun really meet the one who stole his young heart at yesterday's celebration? The Crown Prince sighed heavily. He wouldn't deny it. Come on, Alex was serious. If you're looking for some tangible support from the nobility, Lady Valentine is your best bet. But since Miss Clara is still adopted, one cannot count on full support, whether the Emperor is thinking about the right lady. If Father invites the one he has thought of to the palace, then CL will definitely follow his sister. This is a chance to find out the reason why the girl helped him, but it is still early, and Clara is a partner who is easy to get. So the son is not joking and decided to take the difficult path since childhood. He has been distinguished by his resilience and strength of spirit. However, the unwavering will and confidence of the heir to the throne always swept away everything in its path. The father would not interfere. Duke Valentine sat down opposite the main character. Let the maids bring that pot to Clara. Where did father get this? The Duke brought the plant back from a business trip, thinking that Clara would like it, so let her grow it well. He was unable to attend the debut and gives the gift late. The Duke is very sorry. Clara is very lucky to have such a wonderful family. She was already accompanied by her best brothers. And why did Isaac even volunteer? He doesn't go anywhere without CL. Well, that's it. Brother Theo wouldn't have had as much fun without Isaac. Some kids are suspicious today. Soon it will be CL's turn to debut. The girl will always live with her mom and dad, so why scare her like that? Then the family's butler approached the gentleman he urgently needed to tell the head of the duchy something. Louis and CL immediately looked at each other in fear. Suddenly, their parents were informed about their night outing. Since the children have eaten their fill, let them go and let Clara stay. No. CL hasn't experienced all the food here yet. Let them talk in front of her. Why did their father suddenly become so nervous? Did he really receive bad news? What was the matter? Well, the thing is that His Majesty urgently invites Clara to visit the Imperial Palace. But why? Oops, the villain can't let the main character go to the palace without a reliable body. There could be danger everywhere. Well, since my little sister is going to the Imperial Palace, then CL too, the little one wants to walk around His Highness's castle. Isn't it possible to make it so that CL goes with Clara? Clara herself would feel much calmer that way. Their children are so stubborn but friendly and loyal. Let Lisbon prepare the carriage to the palace. If you think about it, after 5 years the little girl had never been to the Imperial Palace. Well, well, well. A few days ago the girl broke in there undercover and even got into a fight with the Count, but her father doesn't need to know about that. Daddy will show his daughter the Imperial Palace from the inside. They say it's very beautiful there. The main character's voice trembled. Her hands shook. Maybe she made some mistake at the ball. Nothing of the sort. Clara didn't make a single mistake. How does Ciel know this? Well, she saw it. Oh, it just slipped out. Well, Ciel is in trouble, what the daughter just said. How could this be possible if Duke Valentine was informed that Ciel and Louis were at home all evening that day? So what do 8-year-olds do there? They need to blink their eyes, stretch out their little hands to their father, and say all sorts of sweet nonsense things. Well, the Duke couldn't even imagine that this was possible. He is very grateful to his lordship, which means that Dad is not angry. Well, nothing dangerous happened. It's good that Ciel didn't tell about Count Reuben and the secret documents. But let my daughter promise not to do this next time, and here is the Imperial Palace. Then a male voice was heard, who has arrived at our palace. What a pleasant surprise. This is Lord Norton. Today, Duke Valentine arrived with his daughters. This is the eldest, Clara, and this is the youngest, Ciel. The girls immediately bowed to their father's friend. What charming children the Duke has. The younger girl looks so much like Mr. Valentine's wife. She's a perfect spitting image of the Duchess, that's true. Wait, the main character is standing next to them, and this worm is treating her as if she's not even there. The little girl stepped on Lord Norton's foot and hid behind her sister. She was frightened by this unpleasant man. But the uncle is not scary at all. Duke Valentine asks you to understand. The youngest follows the older one everywhere. Oh yeah, the older sister's name is Clara. The young miss is in no way inferior in beauty to Ciel, not a compliment. If this bastard is lying, then let him at least do it diligently. Why is Clara talking to an evil uncle? But this gentleman says such kind things to the main character. How can he be a bad person? Is it true that Ciel only treats those who are kind to her older sister well, so her uncle is on her radar? And isn't Lord Norton keeping Duke Valentine and his daughters too long? He's so embarrassed about it. The Emperor is already expecting their family. They can't be late and make the ruler wait. It's time for them to go. Before they went to the ruler, the little girl would like to tell her dad that she didn't like that uncle, just like her father. No one has the right to treat Duke Valentine's daughter like that. Clara is so wonderful, isn't she? The main character's eyes immediately filled with tears. These wonderful people really love her like their own daughter. She is the happiest person in this world, and why is she so lucky? It's time for them to pay a visit to the Emperor. Fanfares sounded, and the butler announced that Duke Valentine and his daughters had arrived to see the Emperor. The head of the Valentine family bowed respectfully before His Majesty. He was glad to welcome Gregory III. How interesting. Isn't the younger girl's name Ciel? And why did she come to the Imperial Palace today? The baby bowed in a graceful curtsy, Ciel happy to greet the son of the Empire after so many years. The girl has grown so much already. It has been a long time since His Highness lifted the baby. Why is she standing up? She is a grown woman in a child's body. Come on, little chicken. Come here. What kind of strange games are these? His Highness is talking to all the guests like this? His lordship has known Ciel since birth. He only has a son, so he is so happy about the cute little girl. It's been so long since His Majesty did this. Well, Ciel knew it. She was being squeezed like a kitten again. The baby looks exactly like her mother did as a child. They say the Emperor was in love with her and could have become her father. Horror. Stop rubbing against the villainous already. It seems the young miss doesn't like it. Let the Emperor put her in her place already. Indeed, his lordship forgot to shave today. He hopes the little one wasn't in pain. The little villain immediately dove behind her older sister's back. How hard it is to be so charming. And why did the son of the Empire invite Clara to his palace today? The Emperor wanted to ask her a couple of questions. Everything is going according to the plot. In the original, Clara was also called and asked questions, so there is nothing to worry about. So while father is talking to Miss Clara, the Crown Prince would like to personally show the palace to her younger sister, which, how opportune. The little girl was just begging her father about it. The Duke will be very grateful. Hey, Ciel wants to go with his sister. Here the heir to the throne carefully took the girl by the hand and led her along the adults needed to talk without her. Did they all agree there? Who would let their daughter go with a stranger? What if he brings her into bad company? And in general, how can she leave her Klarochka alone, her tender and defenseless daughter, that is, the heroine? It was not worth talking about what happened at the ball. Now the girl will always be excluded from serious conversations. But why is everything so strange? Why are there no servants or confidants around to watch over Alex? The future ruler met the gaze of his peer, apparently a child of the court nobility. The young aristocrats immediately leaned against the crown prince, but there was not a drop of sincerity in their gesture. Hello, Ciel and Alex himself are still children by nature. What if something happens to them? Why were they let go alone? Even in this huge palace, the heir to the throne is full of ill-wishers. Their parents are simply irresponsible. Poor protagonist, he seems to be going against the whole world alone, but only he can do something like this. Alex used the documents that Ciel gave him last time. She is glad that they were useful to him. The matter was in Alex's favor. He is grateful, and the crown prince is definitely grateful. After such words, you don't want to give anything to the grateful. Oh well, the little villain is just diffusing the situation. The future ruler is already having a hard time here. So the girl sees him as the heir to the throne, of course. All that remains is to secure the support of the Valentine family. After all, the prince is in a difficult position, and uniting with her family would benefit both parties, a dangerous statement. However, Ciel believes that Alex is more suited to the role of crown prince than anyone else. The girl says this sincerely. An outstanding mind, piety, strength of spirit, and morality, this cannot be ignored. And where did the girl get this from? Nowhere. It's her personal opinion. Adults consider her words to be just childish chatter, but Alex listens to every sound. And what should the crown prince do next? First of all, survive. Everything is possible while he is alive. It is logical. And Sister Clara knows a lot about medicinal herbs and will be able to save the crown prince if necessary. He catches on. If someone sends the heir to the throne, Clara will save him. Alex always wondered if Ciel hated his sister. How can you even hate the main character? She is a ray of light. Lowenthal, its flowers are poisonous, but the roots are used as an antidote. The herbs may look the same, but each one has its own use. Ciel wants Clara to be loved. She cares for Ciel as if she were her dead sister, and she looks for a trace of her dead sister from reality in her. The girl already said that she loves Clara more than anything in the world. The crown prince didn't ask this because he wanted to see Ciel's tears. The little girl frowned and wiped away her tears. She was simply allergic to flowering plants. Here, the main character brought his handkerchief to the girl's face and began to wipe away her tears. This was unexpected and very sweet. The little girl's cheeks immediately flushed. For him, it was wonderful to be in the body of this little girl. Everyone simply adored her. The crown prince wanted to apologize to Miss Ciel. He thought she was lying about loving her sister. The little villain rolled her eyes. Was it really that hard to believe? And the crown prince definitely felt sorry. Adults always put Ciel first and don't even look at their sister. This probably hurts Clara. So the girl asks to protect Clara. This is abnormal even in the eyes of children. So why don't adults see this? To be honest, now the heir to the throne is jealous of the main character. Why would that be? He likes dresses too, Alex giggled. She is looked after so devotedly. Well, there probably won't be another moment like this. Ciel has a proposal. When the Valentine family can't come to the aid of their older sister, let Prince Alex protect her. Ciel only asks for this, and will side with the crown prince in any situation. It's getting late. They'd be better off returning the girl to the adults. Hey, it's not fair. His Majesty promised to show Ciel's palace, but in the end he only brought her to tears. Is he really a bad person? Oh well, the little girl folded her hands in a businesslike manner. She would consider that they had reached an agreement. The more the main character watches her, the more surprised he is. This girl is different and definitely special. This is the newly converted music room. Wow, there's a whole music school in here. And among this variety of musical instruments, there is one that the prince knows how to play, the violin. Can the young guest hear the heir to the throne play? That right now, yes. Ciel is waiting for his performance. The lady has preferences in music. Let the prince play something of his own. A difficult request. This melody is like a greeting to love, written in honor of the engagement with the beloved. The crown prince has a very soft and warm playing. The notes flow and fill the entire space. This guy is truly the main character. He is absolutely wonderful in everything, more careful than Ciel. Here, the eyes of the little villain and the heir to the throne met. And why was her heart beating so hard? It was simply magical. The prince was absolutely confident in his choice of career path. And the girl is learning to play the piano. When she learns, they will be able to play together. Then there was loud knocking on the door of the music room, and someone's hysterical scream was heard, asking what kind of harpy was behind the wall. Let them open the damn doors immediately. What the hell is going on here? The little girl got scared and instinctively hid behind Alex's back, wondering who was knocking there. The main character carefully extended his hand to the girl. She needs to follow over there. The handsome young man hid the girl behind the curtain. Ciel must sit quietly and not come out under any circumstances. Alex closed the curtains, but why on such a day he didn't want to scare and upset Ciel? There is nothing noble in this woman except the blood of the emperor. It will begin now. Princess Lotta burst into the music room. Why didn't her nephew open the door for her? And all princesses are taught to barge in without warning, you little brat. How dare he make remarks to the princess with his low-grade mouth? Even her blood does not save her from the stench that emanates from her. There's no need to pretend that Alex doesn't know anything. This is about the case of the next minister of state. Of course the crown prince knows about this. Oh, it seems the young man is now in trouble because of Ciel. There are guests in the palace today. If Lotta wants to splash out her poison, let her find another time without dishonoring her noble blood. At this point, Princess Lotta roared in rage and swung her hand at the main character. A loud bang was heard in the music room. How dare this rotten brat treat Alex like that? Ciel will not forgive. The main character's cheek began to throb painfully, which made the boy decide that he had the right to lecture Lotta. Because of this little bastard, all the princess's plans were ruined. But why is no one reacting to such noise? If the little villain steps in and throws this psychopath out the window, the situation could get complicated. It would be better if this bastard died. Yes, let him die today in some ditch. What a disgusting creature hides under the title of princess. Alex is the most worthy of all. And this rotting carrion doesn't even have the right to pronounce the name of its nephew. In reality, she and her sister were orphans. They were often beaten, and they were very scared. How a boy can bear such pain and sadness so stoically is simply incredible. But Ciel had already met people like this, a primitive and useless specimen that would be forgotten by the end of the chapter. Now, take your hands off me quickly. She's so disgusting that no dress can hide it. That is to say, Ciel Valentine, her worst nightmare, this girl cannot interfere in the affairs of the imperial family. The princess simply does not yet understand who is standing right in front of her now, or why. Ciel, unlike Lotta, was raised and knows that only weak and insignificant people use force. Let the girl shut her mouth immediately. Alex immediately stood up for the girl. These children have completely lost their fear. She is a princess, and the only thing that makes her a princess is the name. Lotta will always be just a shadow in the family tree, dust that will disappear with the first gust of wind. It's time to put this rotten thing in its place. Lotta swung again and struck, but Ciel took the blow on herself. Now the game has begun. Duke Valentine will never forgive anyone for this. The main character immediately jumped up to the girl. Why did she do this? She's fine. The baby's cheek was red and swollen. The scoundrel didn't hit hard, and this would be her fatal mistake. Lotta understood the position of the Valentine family and immediately jumped back in fear. Her father will not spare anyone, and especially not some pathetic girl with the complexes of the main character, what? This bitch will pay for her baseness, the girl screamed throughout the palace. Dad! Duke Valentine immediately ran into the music room. What happened? For him, Ciel is the most precious gift. And what does he see? His little girl's cheek is burning, it's swollen, and his daughter is crying, unable to contain her pain. The baby was so scared that the main character immediately began to console Ciel. What's wrong with the baby's cheek? Why is it so swollen? She's probably in a lot of pain. Lotta began to back away. And what happened here is a question for Princess Lotta. Nothing strange. Lotta also came here because of the noise and saw that the crown prince hit the duke's daughter. What a cowardly liar, but what's wrong? In front of her father, Ciel is no longer so brave, right? However, Duke Valentine sees that His Highness's cheek is swollen, but let him not say that this is the work of his daughter, hey. As the father himself had already begun to guess, the crown prince did not beat Ciel. On the contrary, he protected her. While his daughter was hurt, it happened when Ciel tried to protect Alex. He asks for forgiveness. Steel flashed in the Duke's eyes. He would ask Lotta again how his daughter got that bruise. The Duke is now putting the princess in a difficult position by taking some children at their word. The Duke roared like a lion at the culprit. There was only she here, and she dared to harm his daughter. Valentine always repays any debt. This is known to every inhabitant of the empire. It is that the Duke decided to intimidate the princess. These are just words, and she is already scared, but what will happen to her after the actions? The vile princess swallowed nervously. Valentine was an opponent she couldn't handle. She needed to retreat. They will all regret it. No one will ever dare or be able to make Valentine an enemy, and she knows it. The main character made a compress for Ciel. She was lucky that she had meta grass on hand. Big sister is the best. You have to look at the baby's face. Everything is fine. The girl's cheek doesn't hurt anymore. That's not true. Look how swollen it is. And His Grace, the prince was not injured anywhere else. Everything is fine. What a lie. You can't tolerate anything. Alex didn't tolerate it. It seems that this is not the first time something like this has happened. Alex is sorry. The Duke trusted him with his daughter, and he let him down. It was all that mad woman who beat Alex to vent all her dissatisfaction with her life. Could it really be that those same documents of Ciel are the reason for all this? Stop, don't say another word. Daddy doesn't know anything. And something else like that, her adventure also had a second season. Well, that's it. The girl simply didn't want to worry her daddy. She simply helped the crown prince. But this was not a matter his little girl should be involved in. The baby could have been hurt, but the Valentines can withstand any blow. If the crown prince asks Duke Valentine for help first, the situation will become easier. Apparently the prince needs the Duke's help. He is happy to... It's not exactly help. It's more like permission. The protagonist took a deep breath and said courageously that he would like to get engaged to his daughter. If there is a connection between the father-in-law and son-in-law, then the union is formed naturally. An excellent move, a future ruler. The older sister will finally get her happy ending. Ciel is so happy for Clara. The main character got down on one knee in front of the little villain. He asks Ciel Valentine to marry him. What the... The crown prince got everything mixed up. Apparently that psychopath hit him hard. Clara is over there. The villainess stood in the middle of the scorched earth, soaked in blood, and her time had come to die. Ciel Valentine fell to her knees before the main character, and here is her sentence. The handsome young man's face did not express any pity. He despised the villain with all his soul. Ciel needs to wake up. Come on. She felt someone's touch on her cheek. The girl immediately jumped up in fear. Her body was sticky with cold sweat. Was it really just a dream? Everything was so real. Why does my sister sleep so soundly during the day? She is so happy to see Louis. I never thought that she would say something like that. If it weren't for Louis, she would have slept until the evening that he said it. Let Ciel get out of bed already. Louis went to the refectory. We need to understand what's going on. Everything went completely wrong. The main character proposed his hand and heart not to the main character, but to her, and what will happen now? Duke Valentine thanked the crown prince, but his daughter had only recently turned 10. She is still too young to marry, so the Duke asks Alex to think about it again. And from that day on, the little girl simply cannot sleep, because the plot has turned 360 degrees. And now how can she avoid a painful death? Now everything is unclear. Finally, the baby woke up. Her hair was so disheveled, Clara was going to comb it now. The main character carefully sat the girl down on the ottoman and began to comb her hair. How does the older sister think why His Majesty said this to Ciel? Still, the little girl is worried about what happened that day, why Clara is laughing. It's just that Ciel is so cute. When she's worried about something, she puffs out her cheeks in such a funny way. On the day of her debut at the ball, the main character asked her about her younger sister. His Highness was interested in many things related to Ciel. Why would he be? Clara immediately knew that the crown prince would propose to Ciel, which is why she wasn't surprised. Wait a minute, so their dance and the Valentine's visit to the palace was because of Ciel. But wasn't the beloved sister upset by the prince's proposal? And why should she be? On the contrary, the main character praised the little girl very much and talked about her kindness. Then the baby exploded, but it was all wrong. It wasn't supposed to be like this at all. But Alex is the main character, and Clara is the main heroine, and Ciel has nothing to do with it. The role of the villain can be revived, but she just wanted to survive. Of course, she can't tell Clara all this. Ciel will just be considered crazy. It was all just so sudden. It's good that Daddy was able to resolve this issue. Everything was put off, but later it will be difficult to refuse. The political interests of Duke Valentine and the Crown Prince coincide. It will be an invincible alliance. One wish from Ciel's father will be enough to make Alex the Emperor and his daughter the Empress. But since Ciel will steal her sister's partner, she doesn't want Clara to hate her. And she also needs to avoid death. How are the lovely girls of the Duchess doing here? How is the baby? According to Louis, his sister had a nightmare today. Here is the snitch. He is worried, as are the parents. And what about their princess's face? It's already much better, but the swelling hasn't gone down yet. How could this worthless piece of trash even touch the face of the Duchess's daughter? She had been rotten since childhood. This empty shell dreamed of universal power and wealth since childhood, representing nothing of herself, hence the anger towards the whole world. It was officially announced that this scoundrel had fallen, but Mother could not be stopped. Villainess Rose Headington. She was a simple daughter of an earl, but she was incredibly beautiful. The princess was terribly jealous of her and took Villainess everywhere as an accessory, trying to belittle her. And when her brother began to show attention to her, Lotta began to openly bully Villainess, accusing him of the fact that, despite his lowly origins, with the help of his face, Villainess was aiming to become empress. But Villainess married for love when she met Duke Valentine, and Lotta no longer had any excuse to despise her. Things have taken a serious turn. Villainess knows Lotta's pathetic insides very well and is now indignant with rage. The princess becomes a clear enemy of the Valentines, and CL shouldn't hesitate at a time like this, apparently. And the Duke is not going to his work today. Well, the daughter could not approach her father. Where are these tears coming from? Their little girl will live with her mom and dad her whole life, right? The best father in the world, he gave up everything to take care of his daughter, but Lotta had definitely already started to act. Now CL will be a lady. Ladies need help, so Daddy shouldn't be sad anymore. She essentially has nothing to lose, according to the plot. She is a rabid villain who is executed. And that evil woman also said nasty things about my mother. Well, that's it. Now this psychopath is definitely finished. Now Daddy is ready, let him crush Lotta. CL is rooting for him. It is not known how this story will end now. All we can do is wait. The parents merged in a kiss. They give it. This is the kind of love that poets praise. Hey, good girls aren't allowed to watch, but CL still seems to hear everything. The Duchess's cheeks immediately turned red, and indeed their children were here. The Duke loves his wife and children more than anything in the world, so he will not allow anyone to hurt them. Mommy wants Daddy to tear that nasty woman apart. Go ahead, darling. Oh, these are the best people. She is very lucky to be reborn next to them. Despite the uncertainty, CL seems to feel that everything will be fine. What kind of number is this? What is the main character doing here? Clara giggled. What's going on is that the older sister invited the Crown Prince to their estate because he wanted to see CL. Traitor. The Crown Prince is grateful to Lady Clara for responding to his request. They are friends with Alex. What do you mean? What other friends? And they have had this for a long time. Well, yes, Clara and the heir to the throne decided to become good friends. Wow. And Alex asks for forgiveness for the visit. The Emperor misunderstood Alex about Clara. It was funny. Yes, His Majesty then asked if Clara had accidentally stolen his son's heart. But the girl denied everything and assured His Highness that she and his son were just friends. That's right. So today the Crown Prince came to talk to the little villain. Before the boys start talking, let them come here. Clara has prepared the herbs. The tea that was sent contained exactly these leaves, which is what we are talking about. Lowenthal is a dangerous poison that acts even in small doses. So the poison was in the tea, as CL thought. She did not stop her attempts. The roots have a detoxifying effect. Eating them will rid Alex of the poison. It's good that the Crown Prince came on time. As Miss CL said, Lady Clara can help. The little sister really praised Clara's talents, and now it's time for her to do the same. Well, Clara will wait for the baby outside. Where is she going, even if she doesn't think about leaving them alone? Lady Clara Valentine, come back quickly. CL dedicated her life to her and she. Why did everything turn out this way? And what is he even talking about with the two of them alone? The Crown Prince had something he wanted to say to Lady CL. She needed to run. That was the best way to avoid the conversation. The proposal of marriage was extremely thoughtless on the part of the Crown Prince. Okay, let the main character continue. The girl will still listen to this conversation. To become allies, marriage would be necessary, so Prince Alex announced his proposal. So, this means that the main character was guided by something other than his sympathy. And why did she suddenly feel so offended? She needed to pull herself together. It meant that his lordship had decided to use CL. The young heir's cheeks immediately turned red. He had no intention of offending Miss Valentine. The two's gazes met again, but why did the heart start beating treacherously again? What was this? Why does CL act like a fool around the main character? It's shameful. Father was very angry with Lotta, so now he and Alex have a common enemy, and they are definitely allies. Duke Valentine would certainly side with the future Crown Prince. Alex had no doubt about that. Apparently this is not only Duke Valentine's problem, but why is the prince laughing? CL's brother Theo also gathers people who despise Lotta. He is very angry at her because of CL. But my brother was always so reserved towards Ciel. Is he, like Louis, hiding his warm attitude? That's absolutely certain. The girl always thought that she irritated Theo. He would be upset to hear this. Why is Miss saying this? Judging by Alex, the prince is even more upset. The girl was very impressed by the prince's violin playing, and she began learning the piano. The main character had already heard about this from Lady Clara, so he offered her a violin. What? So it was Alex. Ciel is so grateful. She was worried that her little sister wouldn't want to study. So that's the reason why the main character was the first to say that she wanted to study music. As the young lady requested, the prince maintains good relations with Lady Clara, who helps with medicinal herbs. Well, of course, Ciel said that her older sister is the best. Here, the main character suddenly blushed. His gaze began to run in different directions. What was he doing? Noticing the young man's confusion, Ciel came closer. What was the matter? The crown prince simply wanted to say that they should become even closer. What? What does this mean? Maybe Alex does feel sympathy. After all, I need to get these thoughts out of my head. Still, the main character is incredibly beautiful. You have to hold on. The crown prince gathers allies, makes friends with Clara, and apparently decided to make friends with Ciel as well. The main character in the story has never had friends. She will be glad to become his loyal friend. So Miss Valentine suggests that they be good friends, which means friends. And isn't that what was meant just now? Alex quickly offered his hand to Ciel. Thanks to Duke Valentine, the appointment of the crown prince by the National Assembly will be accepted without objection. The girl is glad to know this. Alex deserves it. Maybe he wants tea. Not this time. The main character came here secretly. So next time. Why secretly? Well, this little princess has an incredibly loving father and 3 brothers for whom she is a treasure. The little girl burst into laughter. Yes, if possible, they would have hidden her from the whole world. If she was able to change the plot of the novel, then she must find a way to protect her beloved family. The little villain has no choice but to move forward on a new path. Several years passed, and the Valentine family diamond turned 15 years old. Why does the beautiful lady hide such a beautiful face? It is a crime. The thing is that Ciel is participating as a mage, so she doesn't want to be seen. Young Miss Valentine removed the hood of her robe before entering the academy. Her ID is needed. And when the young lady will make her debut, Ciel hasn't decided yet. She doesn't want to, but what about it? Well, Miss Clara will be at the tea party today. And her little sister probably wants to too. Ciel still has a lot to prepare. Clara has received her official pharmacist license, and Ciel needs to improve her magical skills. It's a pity that the family cannot be present, and young Mr. Lewis is waiting and so worried. The maid is so worried, but this is an official exam for the title of magician in front of other people. Therefore, the mistress and assistant are here in place of the Ciel family members who cannot attend. Several years ago, Brother Lewis developed his skills in the dark alleys of the capital. This is not his first time in front of people, so the exam is a piece of cake for his brother. The audience is eagerly awaiting the performance of Duke Valentine's 3rd son. He has incredible skills. However, there is still an enormous amount of pressure on Louis, and the public's expectations are obviously too high. Sir Louis Valentine is asked to come on stage, and the audience roars with delight. Even though Ciel knows that her brother has been training, she is still worried. He is clearly nervous. Will everything be okay with my brother? He only pretends to be cold and proud, but he is very kind and vulnerable inside. And behind his barbs he only hides his fear, so it's easier for him to move forward. Louis Valentine, rank B, what's the matter? The girl jumped up from her podium. Her brother is a very talented magician, but now he can't do anything, apparently because of anxiety. Valentine got a B rank. What a shame. There is an adopted child in their family. Maybe it is Louis. What disgusting rats. The villainess remembered every worm, and the veins on the young man's neck bulged. Here, a thin and warm hand of his sister fell on the older brother's face. Calmly, she's nearby. Let him breathe out. Ciel immediately hugged her brother. Apparently, these envious cowards want to test Louis's magic on themselves. What is my sister doing here? She came after all, of course. Big brother was nervous because there were a lot of people here. Ciel came to support him. What is she talking about? Let the sister go to her beloved crown prince. What is this about, brother? They stick together every time because they are supposedly friends, since the crown prince and the Valentine family are in the same boat. Louis doesn't want to hear all this. Let Ciel go. What came over him? After Ciel became friends with the heir to the throne, Louis became so distant and began to push her away. At the second stage of the exam, brother will be able to raise his level. Let Meryl prepare the carriage. Someone pulled the girl from behind, and here comes the little sister. And what is Clara doing here? And how did the sister even recognize Ciel? She hid well. How could she not recognize her beloved sister? Clara came to see Louis, but it looks like it's all over now. They'll talk at home. How did the main character's tea party go? Did she meet a good man? What? So Ciel wants Clara to get married quickly. What nonsense. According to the Crown Prince, the little girl said that she would marry Clara when she grew up. Well, how much can we remember about this? It was a strategic move. So many years have passed and these two still laugh at Ciel. Why is she sulking? By the way, when does the Crown Prince plan to return? These are hard times for Alex. So much has happened in these few years that the Emperor has finally started talking about the right to succession to the throne. His Majesty declared his only son, Alex Hadram, the star of the Empire and crowned him Crown Prince. But at the same time, the son of the vile Princess Lotta, Archduke Seth, was recognized as worthy of the right to inherit the throne. That is, if Alex is not there, Seth will take his place, so Lotta constantly sends the Crown Prince to the battlefield. After the victory, Alex will definitely return, and their father should also arrive soon. And Ciel is tormented by another problem. There is no reason for Clara to be able to get into the palace. What if something flares up between the main characters if Clara is sent straight to the palace? At this point, a strange young gentleman approached the young ladies and asked Miss Clara to spare him some time. Of course, the main character gracefully curtsied. Well, Ciel will do, I guess. And for what reason did this guy steal the girl's beloved Clara? Wait a minute, isn't that blonde guy the son of Count Hammond? Did he really come to her with a proposal of marriage? The time has come for her to get married. Clara receives such proposals every day, but she has not planned anything yet. Clara is indeed very attractive, but people who have not inherited the title only want a piece of Valentine's wealth. These naive fools think that Ciel will just give her to Clara, whom she looked after for so many years. But there is no serious threat. However, the main characters will not cross the friendly threshold, apparently. The flowers here are so beautiful. The villain didn't even know that there was such a wonderful garden here. And what a wonderful day it is today. It seems like nothing can spoil it. An unpleasant voice was heard at this point, asking why Lady Ciel had such a sad expression on her face. Well, the only thing she needed was witnesses. Such people don't live long. This guy knows about that. Who is standing in front of her? This young man gives off a very unpleasant aura. She doesn't like him. And how did this guy even recognize the girl? Scarlet eyes, a nasty grin. Ciel had seen this somewhere before. Stop staring at the girl. Does the guy have nothing better to do? And she's not a lady at all. There's no reason not to call Duke Valentine's precious daughter a lady. Isn't that what this guy needs? And with whom Miss Valentine has the misfortune to speak now, apparently the lady does not remember the young man. This character did not appear in the original story, and they did not meet at banquets. The girl doesn't remember how they met, but they really have known each other for a long time. Ciel doesn't remember anything about his childhood, or their meeting wasn't meaningful or interesting. The boy was immediately embarrassed by his interlocutor's open contempt. This is not how people usually react to him. It's hard to believe, but the persistent young man intercepted the girl's hand with one movement, after which the unknown character kissed her hand. But he always remembered Miss Ciel. Ugh, how disgusting. Well, in that case, she sympathizes with him or something. That look gives her an unpleasant feeling inside. As if something bad was coming with this guy's appearance, it was time for His Majesty to return. It's a pity that the young man's walk had already come to an end, because now the most interesting part had begun. In this country, only one person can be called that, and it couldn't be Princess Lotta's child. His Highness Seth can't be late this time. Ciel won't be bored. Judging by the girl's sincere reaction, she really doesn't remember him, although she promised to marry him when she grows up, and Seth really hopes to meet his beloved Ciel again soon. Ugh! What did that lunatic just say? Ciel had never seen him in her life? What promise was that? Mother at least remembers something of this nature because it all looks like the delirium of a madman. But the beloved daughter has nothing to worry about. Her mother will not give her to just anyone. At the age of 5, the little girl was sick a lot, apparently. That's when she said this, and then forgot, and that's when she was reborn as Ciel. Every time his daughter appeared at the palace, Seth persuaded her to marry him. That is, it really happened, but they were little then. So many years have passed. It's very strange because there was no mention of this character in the original storyline. And why is this Seth suddenly clinging to her with his childhood memories? This is not a good sign. Princess Lotta's son is 2 years older than Ciel and is the owner of the imperial family's largest source of income, Winterbaum. He has a secretive and pliable character, not suitable for an emperor, so there were only 2 lines about him in the novel. Is this really a villain love story, and was Ciel destined to be with this character? There is absolutely no time to solve such problems now. There are many dangerous elements that cannot be ignored. We need to investigate. Louis got a B rank. He was so nervous and didn't want his sister's support. But judging by everything, their brother has already gotten much better, so the sister did a good job. By the way, their sister Clara received recognition today. And who is this fearless young man? It seems that the poor fellow is the second son of the Earl of Hammond's family, but Clara refused as usual. So let Brother Theo breathe out. That's wonderful. The young man's cheeks immediately flushed. That is, it was her choice. Theo has loved Clara for so long, but during all this time he has never been able to talk about it. If only he could be happy with someone too. If you inform Theo about his sister's suitors, you can get some interesting information that Ciel wants to know. Recently at the Magic Academy, Ciel met Princess Lotta's son. He says that they were friends. But the girl herself doesn't remember this. Isaac would have torn him in two with his own hands. Did this Seth really dare to harm her, of course? And what terrible thing did this guy do? Ciel needs to know this and be more careful the next time they meet. Well, this slippery Seth wanted to force Ciel to kiss him. Theo himself didn't see it, his mother told him. What? Lotta's child is a preoccupied stalker or something. Has he been obsessed with her since then or something? The important thing is that Ciel was 4 years old then. She refused, and this bastard forced her. No one can even touch the Valentine's jewels without permission. My father had already practically issued such a decree. It doesn't matter that Ciel was a child. She always has the right to refuse. Now she knows it very well herself. Well, it's clear that the villain in this novel also has her own stalker. What a twist. Ciel is grateful to her brother. She loves him. Theo did nothing wrong, and let her sister not just say that word. And it's not just like that. She loves Theo very much. He is important to her and occupies a special place in her heart. Then the main character came in and called their brother, and Ciel was here too. And what is sister doing here? Clara was taking something to herself. She wanted to call this Theo. He is always so attentive to her. Theo is especially good at this, and I can't argue. Could brother take a look at this? What is the content here? The main character immediately hesitated. These two become so shy when they are around each other. Okay, Theo will have to pluck up the courage to talk to Clara one day. It's better to leave them. And why is the little sister already leaving? She has urgent business with her brother Isaac. They need to have a good chat. This kid should be grateful to the villain. They really are such sweethearts together. This is also the official love story of the novel that was set up in the original. Such a cute atmosphere. At first, Ciel was obsessed with the original version of events, but maybe Clara would be better off with Theo. It's a shame to take Alex's beloved away, but they are just friends, so the main character can overcome this. Come to think of it, when was the last time the girl even sent letters? Northern Front explosions thundered. He stood at the epicenter of the battle. The main character continued his path and his war. Alex grew up to be a true ruler, the likes of which the Empire had never known. Things are getting restless around here, but the atmosphere inside the Empire is no better. Dangerous times have come. A private soldier reported to the Golden Star of the Empire that he had received correspondence for His Majesty. The letter that was handed over bore the seal of the Duchy of Valentine, and there was another letter along with Clara's. Ciel always looks forward to the return of the Crown Prince. Signature, his faithful friend. Friend, then. His lordship always seems so happy when he receives letters from the Valentine's house. So today the future emperor received good news. That's not really the point. The heir to the throne wanted to ask Sir William. He always receives letters from his wife. It is true that the wife always sends letters to the military man, so he feels that someone is thinking about him. It is said that his wife liked Sir Wilhelm very much, and so it was, which is why the Crown Prince is so close. A conspiratorial smile appeared on the protagonist's face. He clearly liked this answer. So this could mean that Ciel writes letters to the Crown Prince every time because she likes Alex. What His Highness said was nothing of the sort. Sir William was very lucky to be loved, that's true. And Lady Clara constantly writes that Ciel asks about the Crown Prince. That's nice. The main character has been patient for a long time. He really wants to return home at least for a short time, but such an order is rare. In fact, more than anything, the future emperor wants to see her, to look into her emerald eyes again. The pleasant fantasies of the heir to the throne were interrupted by a soldier. Food for the imperial army had arrived. The Crown Prince will personally check all delivered provisions for quality and quantity. That's not all. Along with the food for the soldiers, another unexpected guest arrived, the one we are talking about. Duke Valentine stood before the future emperor. They had not seen each other for a long time, and Alex was sincerely glad to see him. But still, Duke Valentine's visit is so unexpected that what brought him here, the daughters keep asking about the crown prince. The main character's face immediately came to life, which meant the Duke's daughters were asking about Alex. The father smiled kindly, knowing the feelings of the young man, and what was so excited about the crown prince in his words? Nothing. Well, why is the Duke making fun of the heir to the throne? It seems to be a serious topic for Alex. If the crown prince allows, the Duke will help him a little. It will be an honor for him. The enemy camp is still behind the mountains. They will have to hold out until this winter. Perhaps Duke Valentine brought with him some news or words from the emperor. A warm smile immediately appeared on Duke Valentine's face. The crown prince was looking forward to this. So he's looking forward to the opportunity to return to the capital. His lordship wants to go home soon, doesn't he? The protagonist confirmed the Duke's words in a calm, even tone, and he asks for his help. In that case, the Duke has good news for the young man. The Emperor has issued an order for his return. In fact, His Highness had already issued a similar decree several times, but it did not reach his son. It's obvious that rotten Aunt Lotta had a hand in this. Only this vile woman does not benefit from the return of the future ruler back to the empire. Just a minute, but if the crown prince soon returns to the capital, then what should the squad do with the enemies? Duke Valentine immediately cast a steely glance at the man. The princess's six had given itself away. Such words could only come from her greedy minions. Here, a red aura appeared around Duke Valentine's hand. His lordship is not a careless person. The henchmen recoiled in horror from the mighty Duke, the sky above them turning red. The soldiers screamed. A huge meteorite appeared right above the mountains where the enemy camp was located. That's why Valentine was here. What a great and invincible power is concentrated in the hands of one man. No one will go against the Duke. The situation in the Empire is difficult. There will be calm here for the next 6 months, but not a word about it. We need to have time to inspect the remaining area. The Duke doesn't want to upset his daughters by being late. The main character immediately perked up. He couldn't even believe it. He was really returning home. The crown prince will indeed be able to see her again soon. We need to finish here quickly. Meanwhile, the villain of the novel sighed heavily. When will he finally return? This waiting is exhausting her. Louis did not return home after the rank was determined. His father and sister had their own plans, and they were also absent. If her beloved daddy would come back, Ciel would feel warmer in her soul, and she could find out the latest news. The butler's voice was heard on the first floor of the estate. His Excellency had returned. The girl immediately rushed to meet her father. Daddy was finally home. She missed him so much, and here was his princess. The baby lived well here while her dad was not home. She was sad without him, and how was her mom? Mother is waiting at the appointed place. We must not make her wait. The Duke must see her. Before her parents left for business, Ciel wanted to know how things were going in the north. If her powerful daddy had been to the north, then the situation there had been settled, hadn't it? The Duke understands what his girl's video is about. The north is now clear, and soon His Highness will return to the capital. What a relief. The main character will return safe and sound. It's a pity that the princess is more pleased with the news about the crown prince than about her daddy. This is not true at all. The future ruler is a valuable friend of Ciel and Clara, and they have no intention of marrying him. Duke Valentine will never force his girls to marry. It is their decision alone. According to Marquis Norton, the daughters brought some men. It's time for Dad to go to Mom. A few days later, there is news from Alex, but his location is unknown. Where is he? The villainess began to sort through her favorite books in the library when the maid burst in. The maid began to call her mistress anxiously. What was the matter? What was all the fuss about? They had a misfortune. The son of Princess Lotta, Archduke Seth, arrived to their family estate, and the stalker Ciel forgot where he was. The girl came out to the uninvited guest with concern. The maid greeted the prince. So what was he doing here? Seth didn't hear Miss Valentine's question about what he was doing to the servants of their family estate. The maid sat on her knees in fear. This servant did not want to properly announce Seth's arrival. Let this little rat say thank you for being allowed here at all. Royal blood doesn't save him or his mother. Let the maid rise and not pay attention to this ignorance. After all, there is no way to get rid of low-quality genes. And if you cover up your imaginary self-importance with etiquette, then you should know that showing up without warning is bad form. Let the maid leave with Meryl for now. The young mistress is able to deal with this vile worm. The assistant bowed gratefully to her mistress and left the room, leaving her alone with the unpleasant guest. So the villainess would like to quickly find out the reason for Seth's visit in order to end it quickly. The impudent prince immediately came closer to Ciel. Seth is sure that he will not have another chance to say this. Now quickly remove your slimy hands, you disgusting worm. How dare this bastard touch Ciel without permission? She feels uncomfortable even just standing next to him, let alone his touch. Why is Ciel so rude to Seth? Is there really not a single guess? Seth heard that the girl was exchanging personal letters with his older brother. It didn't concern him at all. And why is the girl so cold with Seth? If she is so warm with Alex, he is really sick, and how does he know about the letters? Apart from Alex and Clara, no one knew that she was sending him letters, or what kind of relationship Miss had with her brother. This vile child knows no bounds at all. If magic isn't enough, Ciel will simply knock him out with a chair. Here, the menacing voice of the future ruler, from what back alley Seth's upbringing had crawled out, was heard throughout the entire back. The bastard swallowed in fear and stepped back from the girl. He didn't have time. Damn, Alex was home again. The villainess was so happy to see the main character, she immediately rushed towards him. Seth stared at her in shock. Ciel missed his highness so much. Finally, the crown prince returned home. Alex's cheeks turned blush. Judging by Ciel's undisguised enthusiasm, she was truly happy to see him. Well, of course. The girl had dreamed of seeing the prince for so long. What a relief that Alex was safe and sound. The two heroes' gazes met. A new wave of feelings ran through both of them. The crown prince received all of her letters. These two are going to continue to behave like this. Seth is invisible or something. They would have called him something worse. What does he need here? Fortunately, the main character saved Ciel from the stalker. But still, why did this guy come here? Why does the future ruler have the feeling that Seth came here without any agreement? Princess Lotta's son came here on important business, and the crown prince himself warned about the visit. Alex shouldn't do this. He is a special guest in this house, and Seth is not worthy of such an honor. So does His Majesty the Emperor know about Seth's ignorance. The vile continuation of the princess immediately swallowed in fear and stepped back. The crown prince hit below the belt. However, Seth won't be upset, because very soon they will have the opportunity to see Ciel. So the princess's son will not say goodbye to his beloved lady. He is sick. And Meryl sprinkled salt in front of the entrance, so that this evil spirit could no longer appear here, yes. The main character immediately became cheerful. He is grateful to Miss Valentine for accepting his sudden visit. Thanks to Alex, she remained safe and sound, and she is simply incredibly happy to see him. And Ciel couldn't help but notice the changes in the crown prince. He had matured so much, she almost recognized him. The heir to the throne was on his way to the palace. Why did he decide to come here? Alex wants to make Clara his personal pharmacist. Then Ciel has nothing more to wish for. Recently, his sister has been attacked by young men who want their family's wealth, not Clara. The villainess asks Alex to take care of his sister, and she understands what that means. This means that Clara will show all her talent, but then her sister will not be able to leave the imperial palace. Then Miss Ciel will have a hard time seeing Clara, but surprisingly, she looks happy. The girl's cheeks immediately turned crimson, of course. Clara's happiness was more important than her personal desires. The protagonist has a feeling that Ciel wants him to make Clara the crown princess. And the crown prince will make her the crown princess. Given the alliance, this is worth thinking about. The main character's face immediately changed, and heaviness and melancholy appeared in his eyes. The voice of the heir to the throne also lost its former calm. Alex sees that Seth has laid his gaze on Ciel. And what does this damned Duke have to do with it? He's a third-rate character. And why did His Highness mention Seth? Maybe he has his own role here. Why is the crown prince worried about this little rat? Wait a minute, what if this Seth was originally Ciel's fiancé? But in the original, the villain was chasing Alex and didn't notice Seth. He was always in the shadows and didn't pose a threat. But now everything is different. Why did Miss Valentine suddenly go silent? She is better suited as a partner. She wouldn't cause trouble for Alex by marrying the princess's son, and it would be better to stay away from Lotta herself. But Ciel doesn't want the crown prince to marry her sister. Well, not exactly. It's just that it's already problematic now. Valentine is the crown prince's most serious and powerful ally, while Clara is not his romantic partner. Wait a minute, the crown prince is trying to figure out if Ciel is in a romantic relationship with Seth. Well, you could say it like that. What a disgusting thing. The girls started having pictures. Okay, Alex understood everything. And what a strange feeling inside Ciel from the moment they met. It spreads warmth throughout her body, and her heart beats so much. The main character has one proposal to Miss Valentine. Would she like to get into the Imperial Palace? That is, how is it that His Highness invites Miss Ciel to live in his palace or something? That's exactly it. Of course, within the walls of the castle, Seth will pester Ciel with even greater ferocity, and she will even propose to marry him, and maybe this will become a reason for Ciel's father to think. To be honest, it would be very unpleasant for the main character to watch such a situation, but if Ciel becomes the bride of the princess's son, it will help elevate Clara to the status of the crown princess. But there is one strange thing. The servants who despised Clara, Theo with his unrequited love, no one changed their feelings. Ciel tried to change their attitude, but all the characters experienced the same feelings as in the original plot, as if everything was supposed to be like this. But then why did the main character change his feelings for her? Alex definitely doesn't love the main character, although according to the plot, he just seemed to fall in love with her and that's all. However, this novel was criticized for the fleeting nature of the love story. They didn't even have a special first kiss scene. What if the reason for this is that even in the original plot, the main characters did not love each other? It could be that the line has become distorted and these two will not be together, and so a hypothesis is formulated in her head. If Miss Valentine moves to live in the Imperial Palace, it will be easier for her to see her sister. Many ladies come to the palace to receive an education, and Ciel hasn't debuted yet, so she might be a guest. And what if the Emperor is against their idea? Ciel shouldn't worry. Alex's father will only be happy about it. Wait a minute. The villainess jumped up and clenched her fists. That is, the Crown Prince had already asked his father about this. They can come up with an excuse later. The young man has some kind of plan, so he is counting on a positive answer. The girl immediately laughed. The Crown Prince, as always, in that case, she agreed to move. The villainess extended her hand to the protagonist. What a pity that it was not meant for her. Here, the girl noticed that his lordship's hand had become much rougher than before. It's time for the Crown Prince to return to the palace, by the way. He brought some seedlings for Clara. What's the matter? The Crown Prince immediately froze questioningly and looked at the girl. Let her take this. The villainess handed the round jar into the hands of the Crown Prince. This cream with the scent of lavender. Let the main character use it. The young man carefully examined the cream and how to use this thing. What a charming child. Has the Crown Prince never used cream before? In fact, the older sister made this cream for Ciel. The girl began to rub the cream into the hero's skin. However, the villainess cannot leave the hands that protect them so much in such a state. The protagonist's cheeks immediately turned red. Ciel continued to massage the Crown Prince's palms. Can Ciel give away his gift? It is from Clara. But now, Alex needs it much more. The protagonist feels indebted to the girl again and again, just like Ciel herself. Let the girl think carefully about Alex's proposal. It's a serious decision. There will be consequences. After a warm and long-awaited meeting, Ciel saw off the main character, and finally, Alex was close again. The villainess returned to the family estate and met her brother Louis, and now what should Ciel do with all this? How dare this slut promise and at the same time betray her brother, and which of them ran away and left Ciel here? The brother immediately turned away and hid his eyes, and she didn't need to know everything. It was clear to her. Actually, the sister knows everything. Louis actively maintained contact with the Information Guild in the back alleys. And after that, Louis believed that Ciel would simply turn a blind eye to his oddities, so what should they do now? Then an enraged Theo appeared. The brother and sister jumped, who was the uninvited guest who offended Miss Lisbon. And here comes the eldest one. Why scare him like that? Well, nothing special happened there. What is Ciel saying the Crown Prince was also spotted at their family estate today? Why is the sister evading the answer to hide everything from her parents? Theo will have to tell everything. And why do troubles always happen on their estate when the parents are away? Theo, although he tried to appear reserved, like all brothers, he was devoted to his family. This was his mistake. Louis intervened. His brother had nothing to blame himself for. If the Archduke began to show himself so impudently, it was not a good sign. And their father and Seth's mother are feuding. This time their dad again singled out Alex and brought him home. Lotta had been preventing this for so long. The princess is furious. That's the point of the Information Guild, and Clara and Alex get along well. Maybe they'll get married. What a bastard. Let Louis shut his mouth immediately before their brother gets sick. Theo can still hear them at all. Brother has nothing to worry about. The Crown Prince and their older sister are only on friendly terms. Then what kind of seedlings did His Majesty bring with him? It's a friendly gesture. Louis is twisting everything as always. There can be no friendship between a man and a woman. Alex wouldn't just be nice to her. Their Theo is falling apart. Louis, that's enough. He loves to provoke. Ciel needs to whisper something in Theo's ear. Brother has absolutely nothing to worry about, although Alex definitely doesn't love Clara and proposed to Ciel, although it was a long time ago. And why are these two whispering there only together? Louis is actually also Valentine, so that's why they are now in an alliance. For this reason, the brothers shouldn't worry about their little sister. Clara appeared here. Why worry about her? Well, as always, as if according to a movie script, cold sweat ran down the girl's face. What is the main character doing here? How was her day? What's new? The weather is just amazing. The elder sister went up to the common room right after dinner. Was she really late? So what's the point of talking? Meanwhile, the main character was replaying in his memory the pleasant and long-awaited reunion with her. The future ruler was on guard as soon as it became known that Seth was heading to the Valentine estate. However, even this nasty worm could not spoil such a wonderful day. His hands really do smell like lavender. Why has His Highness been smiling and looking at this round jar for 10 minutes now without any reason? The Crown Prince went straight to the Valentine estate upon his return, rather than the Imperial Palace. Hence the question of who his lordship is thinking about, which of the Valentine sisters has climbed under his heart. And what is the young man making up? There is absolutely nothing here that he would not have noticed. Well, of course, deep down the Crown Prince's companion wondered if it was the older sister, Clara. And why did such a conclusion come to the mind of the escort? It will most likely sound rude towards the lady. It would be easier for Duke Valentine to let go of his adopted daughter than his own, even though he loves Clara like a father. But the Crown Prince's disgusting aunt would certainly emphasize Clara's origins, because all she has is just status. That's right, if Princess Lotta wanted to dig a hole for her nephew, she would definitely choose Miss Clara for him. But Alex's thoughts are occupied with his younger sister, the one who wanted to marry her older sister. Yeah, this is surprising. I wonder if the heir to the throne had a sister. Would she be so devoted to him? It's unlikely. Why did the young man immediately answer so sharply? Well, in fact, his lordship already has a younger sister, even though she has a male name. And Seth is clearly not distinguished by loyalty. Yes, such a person should not be allowed near Lady Ciel. He is immoral. Was there anyone in Alex's life who would be completely on his side? And more importantly, he likes her so much. And in general, the girl herself often said that she liked the Crown Prince. There was no reason for her not to stay with him. And is His Highness all right? What is his interlocutor talking about? Well, the Crown Prince's pupils dilated and his cheeks turned red. The Emperor rose from his throne and joyfully greeted his successor. At last his son had returned. The future ruler bowed and greeted the son of the Empire. There is no need for these formal pleasantries. Let the son get up quickly. Alex did a great job. And that's not all the news for today. Before his arrival at the palace, the Crown Prince visited the Valentine estate. The son might not have told her about this, judging by the expression on his face. Alex had already met her. The Crown Prince was glad of their long-awaited meeting, but found Seth there, the scoundrel threatening Ciel. And his mother tried to make sure there was no triumphal ceremony. Seth was just her lackey. Princess Lotta may actually be trying to have an affair with Duke Valentine's daughter. Poor Ciel. The Emperor missed her too, but even he has no right to visit as brazenly as Seth. If the son of the Empire gives its consent, the Crown Prince will make her sister his personal pharmacist. The Emperor rose from his seat because Clara would then move to the Imperial Palace. And what about Ciel? The future ruler's cheeks immediately turned pink. Alex was going to invite her as a valuable guest. So little Ciel will come to the Emperor every day. I wish it would be sooner. Well, the plan was different, but yes. For reference, Ciel is not the Emperor's personal man. The kid thinks that he will admire her every day or something. Father is sorry that because of his vile sister they couldn't have a ceremony for Alex. Let them just award the knights. The Emperor is very proud of his son. This is not a gift. But let Alex accept this, and what is it? Let the future ruler consider this a consolation prize. Just a minute, that's it. According to these records, those who import narcotics have appeared in the capital. More precisely, some flowers for processing. This type is difficult to grow. A huge batch will be released soon. So this is a great new thing for the next emperor, isn't it? The protagonist bowed to his father with restraint. It will be done. A very interesting turn. Of course, drug dealers will be hard to catch, but his father is right. It will strengthen Alex's position. The courts are on the content. Clara's knowledge is needed, but you can't talk about it through Ciel. She might get worried. The future ruler called Sir William to him. There is only one option. Whatever His Highness wishes, Wilhelm must contact Theo Valentine early tomorrow. This happened during the day and Clara came late. They were worried about why CL was yelling so much. But the main character, as always, saved everyone. Thanks to him, CL didn't kill anyone, and also gave the cream to Alex. The baby would have done just fine on her own. Clara will make her a new cream with a different scent. Wait a minute. There is a strange smell coming from Clara's skin. It is new. It is men's perfume, and such a sharp one. And who did the main character stay with this evening? Who managed to get closer to her during this time? It is not known what kind of development will follow this. It cannot be ignored. Clara is almost spineless according to the plot. And what did the older sister have her meeting with today? Well, with a person from the Capital Association of Pharmacists. Lately, Clara has been coming home late. She has dinner with him, and tomorrow she will be late too. What is she saying? It's very interesting. The villain won't leave it unnoticed. Seal would like to go with her sister tomorrow. Louis won't be here tomorrow, and she will have to sit here alone again. The sister will sit quietly and will not disturb her. In fact, Clara would not like this. There is one person she likes, and she is shy. What she said is that the main character met a man for whom she developed feelings. This can't be. There was nothing like that in the novel. Apparently the villainess moved somewhere. What kind of place is this? Apparently this is a wedding hall, and in front of it are the newlyweds at the altar. But who is hiding their face under the bride's veil? From here, CL can't see anything. Here, the main character turned to the girl and joyfully called out to her, which meant that her sister had come to the wedding after all. Clara decided to give her heart to this man, whoever he was. The groom uses Clara to make drugs, but not that. This guy is a real scumbag. We need to stop the ceremony. Then CL woke up in her room and it was just a nightmare. She is so worried about Clara's naivety that she even has nightmares about it. What a relief that all this was unreal. Then Clara began to toss and turn. Seal is still bothered by that cheap and disgusting scent of men's perfume. We need to sort everything out tomorrow. If this guy is from the association, then maybe everything will still work out. Here the villainess was struck by an unpleasant thought. Just a minute. And at what point in the plot did Clara have an unpleasant episode with drugs? So now the main character is 19 years old, the youngest pharmacist. She grew rare herbs and became famous among scientists. Her fame has gone beyond the Empire, and the original plot has long been distorted. But suddenly this time someone deliberately got close to Clara in order to make drugs. So the night passed, the villainess still couldn't sleep. Something was wrong. A frightening guess haunted her. History could repeat itself. The lady looks tired, she doesn't say hello. Ciel is just worried about something. So Ciel was going to go with Clara, but it was still too early. Theo understands that his sister is here to tell him about this too. There was an emergency and the little sister rushed here. Clara had someone she liked. The young man dropped his cutlery in shock. This gentleman goes with her to practice, but there is something about him that worries Ciel. The villainess would be glad if the chosen one made their Clara happy. But this young man probably has completely different intentions, so Theo's help is needed. Ciel will find out everything today, and after the meeting she will tell her brother whether her worries were justified. This is a problem of Clara's choice. Theo has no right to decide anything. She understands Theo's feelings perfectly, but now is not the time for his nobility. She needs to save the silly girl. What would Theo do if a drug dealer was targeting Clara? Her powers can clearly serve not only good purposes. Today this will become clear. If this turns out to be true, Theo Valentine will not tolerate this. The bastard will regret it. But today His Highness has invited Theo. He will not be able to join. Nothing. On the contrary, persecution by a young man like Theo will be even more suspicious. Why did sister and brother wake up so early? And here is beloved Isaac. Something terrible happened to their sweet little sister yesterday. Theo told them everything. Isaac despises both Princess Lotta and her vile offspring for daring to approach Ciel. However, the Crown Prince managed to intervene in time, and everything turned out well. Isaac likes Alex more and more. He cut food for his sister. His brother knows that she is no longer 5. Today, Ciel needs to go with Clara. She will visit Isaac's work another time. Let your sister put on this jewelry before leaving. It's for emergency communication. Let him use it in case of danger. The necklace contains her brother's magical power, so Ciel should be careful. Theo has never been good at showing his feelings, but he is overwhelmed with them. The villainess immediately rushed to hug her older brother. How lucky she was to have them. Let Theo be more honest. He is a very kind person, but he pretends that this is not so. The young man immediately blushed. He had no idea what his sister was talking about. And Isaac should also quickly go and hug. She has the best brothers in the world. And here come the Valentine's hugs. What's all the noise? Louis is also a Valentine? What kind of nastiness are they doing here? These three have gone crazy this morning. What are they doing? Ugh, what a mess. If brother wants to join, he could just say he'd rather go out the window. By the way, CL has a request for him. Louis is so happy when he is needed. A little later, the main character brought the villain to the meeting. This is Mr. Hines. Seal didn't misheard now. Clara's eyes are reacting to the light. Then what the hell were the main character's eyes doing when she met this one? The nasty man grimaced. Clara shouldn't bring anyone with her. It will be a problem. What a face. It says it all right there. There was no one to leave my sister with. This girl is not 5 years old. Their business is not something that Clara can brag about around the area, and he is the very definition of charm. This little one shouldn't interfere when the adults are doing their business. Well, that's it. Bespectacled scavenger. For such a tone, her brothers will crush him on the spot, and Clara stands there and blinks her eyes. Such dirt will not make it onto any list of suitors. How can the main character be so stupid? After all, you can immediately see this darkness in the eyes from such a scoundrel. You can only expect pain and grief. Let him lower the tone, otherwise one of the bottles in their lab will be tested on him. The girl can look at the flower beds. What an honor. Clara will remain silent. And why do they go to some back alleys? Isn't this work within the association, as Clara thinks? That is, the main character is not worried about anything at all. Everything is so bad. They will be fine. They don't have much time left to go. They're almost there. Workers cannot be brought into the association, which means that all the work was forced to be done by Clara alone. She is so weak-willed and comfortable, just a gift for any immoral bastard. This house looks very old. First you need to send the location to your brother. And here works the youngest pharmacist. Clara is still not alarmed by anything. Inside this courtyard, their new specimens are growing. But why are they so carefully hidden? What the heck, even all these plants look obviously suspicious. How can the main character avoid such obvious reality so much? Today, Clara must observe this area. She will do everything. Clara follows all of Mr. Hines's orders, and he loves that about her. The villainess is about to bite his hand off. He quickly removed her claws from her naive child. The main character becomes happy when she has the opportunity to save the plants. However, the villain needs to find out what kind of flowers they grow here in the slums. Growing drugs is punishable by death, and Clara knows this and is so careless about her work. Seal has a sample for analysis. All that's left is to take her sister away. Let Clara take the boxes to the warehouse and make tea, then pull out all the weeds. And so the main character carries out someone else's difficult duties without even receiving a salary. And the uncle feels like an auntie, so he wears long hair and doesn't burden himself with hard work. Otherwise, the uncle would not have allowed the girl to do such work instead of him. Seal has a couple of unnecessary dresses. She can give them to him. The work of the observer is very important. Or does the gentleman want to say that the association really forces the sister to do something like this? Let the girl who knows nothing stand here silently, otherwise what? The bastard's fists clenched, which did not escape Clara's attention. Seal poked the bastard with her wand. This worm is using his sister and doesn't even pay her. This ignorant pig doesn't even know that they are the daughters of Duke Valentine and that Ciel is a mage. Well, it was high time they got to know each other better. He shouldn't have offended Clara. Here the main character interrupted Ciel. She was serious. This trash was using her and threatening her sister. But she is on the side of this fit. Clara herself volunteered to help. Sir Hines knows little about plants. What Sister Clara is holding in her hands is a toy that she likes. This girl is interfering with their work. If she continues to yell here, she will go home. Let him get lost and fix his skirt. Everything is too obvious here. There was no need to even investigate. Since the evidence has been collected and Clara is nearby, we can use this. Sweat was running down the main character's face. She was so tired, of course. She was working like 10 people. Here, Ciel doubled over in pain. What's the matter? Her little sister felt unwell from the sun. Clara immediately ran up to ask what happened. What hurts? Maybe she has sunstroke. Ciel has a really bad stomachache. We need to contact Brother Theo quickly. His Highness helped Ciel as a representative of the Valentine family. Theo is grateful. Today, the future ruler invited the young man to the palace so early. Theo is here so that the Crown Prince can request assistance from Lady Clara. But the Crown Prince could do it through Ciel, then their younger sister would be worried. Information has been received that a batch of drugs will be grown in the capital of their empire. And if that's the case, then right now both Ciel and Clara could be in mortal danger. Theo needs to leave urgently, right now. Is there anything that could be related to the Crown Prince's words? Here the young man's precious brooch began to emit light. This was a challenge from Ciel. The girl's voice was heard. They needed her brother's help. Just not that, the girls are taking a huge risk. Alex didn't hear right now. The protagonist's eyes immediately lit up. What happened to Ciel? She is in danger. Clara apologizes profusely, but her little sister is ill, and they need to go home. That is, how is it? But there is still a lot of work left for today. Clara has to do everything. There you go, you vile worm. Once they leave here, he won't be able to fool his sister anymore. It's hard to invite people from outside here. They are well hidden from prying eyes and ears. And Ciel spoke. Here, the scoundrel's attention was drawn to the crunch of a familiar plant with red berries. That's what it was. Damn girl, Clara's little sister is just pretending she's healthy. What is Mr. Hines saying? Clara can't leave without finishing her work. Clara sees this branch with berries. It's Trina's grass. He's right. This grass does not grow among the local plants in their garden, so where would it come from? This overgrown one assured that he did not understand plants. Ciel took the grass from Louis. He often got free from training this way. That is, Clara does have the makings of analysis and logic, so why are they so selective then? Apparently Ciel ate too much of this herb. She's getting worse. In these places, no one even passes by. This girl really doesn't look good. Ciel must remain conscious until her brother arrives. However, the girl can no longer bear this hellish pain. Here Ciel was picked up by her caring brother. She needs to come to her senses. Come on. Her body temperature is off the charts. She could die. Where did Isaac come from? And Louis is here too. Both brothers are terribly scared for her. This is the Trina herb. People don't die from it. Louis told this fool that she needed to eat one stem, but she ate the whole branch. And where is their brother Theo? A familiar voice was heard. Clara was blinded by her naivety. Who is this scum and who does he think he is, forcing her to do this work? What are we talking about? This is an official requirement from the association. And this stupid girl took up the job as a pharmacist, and all the responsibility lies with her. In that case, Theo will make an official request to the association right now. What? This scum actually thinks that it is possible to hide behind information of this nature. An official investigation will begin very soon. The bastard is ready for the consequences. The scoundrel immediately rushed to run. Well, now at least the main character realized what was going on here. This vile snake will now disappear from their sight in these slums. We need to catch the scoundrel. The main character tugged at Theo's sleeve. First, they needed to take their sister to the doctor. Seeing Clara's tears, Theo was immediately stunned. They returned home. The three brothers began to discuss what had happened, and their sister's taste in gentlemen. Yeah, even a blind man would have sensed something was wrong here. Ciel was right. So the contract that Clara signed last time was related to this case. She called it a request from the association, but a task of such magnitude would certainly not have been dedicated to young Clara alone. Earlier, Ciel gave Isaac this flower to check. Louis has some ideas. They need to check them. Theo entered his sister's bedroom. Clara was sitting by Ciel's bed with a guilty look. The doctor said that their sister would be fine, so they could breathe a sigh of relief. The main character is so stupid she didn't even realize that Ciel went with her because she was worried. And it was because of Clara that Ciel experienced such pain today. All because of her stupidity. It's not true. If something happened to Clara herself, their sister simply would not survive it. So the main character shouldn't blame herself. She was simply taken advantage of. Here the voice of the main character was heard. Alex finally found Lord Theo. The heir to the throne has arrived to see how Miss Ciel is doing. Their sister's condition has stabilized, and she will recover once her temperature goes down. Let Clara take care of His Highness, and then let him go and rest. We just need to talk. But Theo himself is so tired today. The day was hard for everyone. Enough arguing already. The Crown Prince himself can take care of Lady Valentine. She will wake up soon. Alex will sit with her. But this can't be done. This is the Crown Prince himself. Clara is sure that no one can handle this better than him. What is Clara saying, and why is she looking at His Highness like that? The girl will prepare medicine for her sister by the time she wakes up. The main character sat down next to the villain. For the first time, she simply remained silent next to him. To be honest, Alex was really scared for her today, but it's good that everything worked out. Ciel definitely has a talent for finding trouble. I hope she gets rid of it and doesn't scare him like that anymore. The girl's body is still pale. Her skin is burning from the heat. I wish she would wake up soon. What should the young man do now? He feels so awkward that he is afraid to move. At this point, a maid entered Mrs. Ciel's private chambers and brought towels and a basin. His Majesty will handle everything here on his own, so the maid can walk. Then she will leave everything necessary here. Everyone was so afraid for the lady, but she is in good hands. In fact, Ciel was already awake. She was just feeling awkward, and decided not to open her eyes until her family arrived. The main character decided to take care of her personally. What a young man! How beautiful he is! Alex looked scared. He was clearly worried about her. What was this feeling inside Ciel? She could pretend like this all her life, so that she could feel his touch. She will never have such a happy moment again, because her beloved young man is not for her. The main character began to wash the girl's face and apply a cold compress to relieve the fever. At this point, Ciel couldn't stand it and jumped up. The water was so cold it got down her collar. Cold sweat ran down the crown prince's face, and he wrung out the towel as best he could. Apparently, Alex woke up Ciel. He had to endure the cold. What to do now with this awkwardness? So Ciel followed her sister out of concern, not jealousy, because Clara liked someone and Ciel herself has someone she likes. What kind of questions are these? I hope they don't find her out. She likes her sister, and someone outside the Valentine family likes Ciel. And for the record, the vile Seth is completely out of her sight, no matter what that little snake does. Why is Alex so happy? What if Ciel had to choose someone as a partner? Who, in the girl's opinion, would suit her best? Of course, Alex is her dream. As if the young man himself doesn't know, it's so obvious, of course, Crown Prince Alex. The future ruler has liked Ciel for a long time. She actually said it out loud. Why doesn't the young man himself notice this, although maybe she really hid it well even from herself? The main character carefully extended his hand to the villain. Who would have thought? The handsome young man brought Ciel's hand to his lips and kissed her, giving her goosebumps. The young man's eyes sparkled. He was grateful to her for loving him. Her heart began to beat treacherously. Alex's hands smell like her gift. Could it be that he has feelings for the villain? Finally, his beloved sister woke up. Isaac heard her voice and immediately came. Wait, why is His Majesty here? And what is the Crown Prince doing at his little sister's bedside? Hey, for some reason the older brother is reaching for the sword, and in general, Ciel is no longer little. His lordship did nothing of the sort. It's a blatant lie. Miss Ciel needs rest now. The Crown Prince was just holding his little sister's hand. Oh no, Isaac is probably inside. For him, Ciel will always be a baby. When Isaac managed to return, it was enough to pester them. My sister needed peace and quiet. Let the brother finally calm down and show respect to the Crown Prince. He has already saved them Ciel more than once. Theo apologizes for his brother's behavior. Alex will work harder to earn his trust. Ciel is fine. Why does the main character look so guilty? What's the matter? The fact that Clara liked Mr. Hines was a misunderstanding. Ciel really wants to believe it. However, right now it's not important. They'll still work on her preferences. The most important thing is that flower. The doors swung open loudly. Where did that fool get that flower? None of the brothers know that they have to knock first. Why is Louis shouting like that? This flower grew in the garden where Clara worked. His brother's jaw dropped. This is a twist. That is, the younger sister picked a flower from the garden. It was necessary. What was Clara thinking? Louis better calm down. Why is his brother so angry? The Crown Prince intervened here because this flower is grown to make drugs. Which, of course, Clara couldn't help but notice. She had the same problem with the vile Hines. So the main character knew everything too. This is one of the reasons why he came here today. Let Miss Valentine see what this is. These documents were passed on to the future ruler by his spies. Someone was trying to smuggle drugs into their empire, a rare occurrence. Therefore, the scouts were unable to find any clues, and Clara's work was connected precisely with this. The association specifically asked Clara to grow this plant, saying that the roots would be used for medicine. But their goal was the petals. Clara did an excellent job, but she is also a victim. After all, the task was organized by the association, but its participation is a fact. We need to think about what to do with it. Well, now they're all being executed for drug trafficking, and Louis is still so young and handsome. The main character gave up. How could she have been so stupid? This worries everyone, but stop blaming her already. And what should we do now? The association may really be involved. Therefore, they should conduct their own independent investigation. No one else knows about this. But if the matter comes to light, the criminals will put all the blame on Clara. And the more the villainess thinks about it, the more furious she becomes. These vile bastards have no idea who they are dealing with. The main character has nothing to worry about. She has so many defenders. What does she have to fear when she has the best villain in the history of novels on her side? Truner Academy, let sister wait here for Clara for a bit. The main character came here to find out everything about a man named Hines. So far, there is no one suspicious around who would target Clara. What a relief, and everyone reacted positively to the villain's plan. The first thing to do is to avoid suspicion that Clara was involved in the drug case. They will say that the sister was an undercover agent on behalf of His Highness from the very beginning. You need to think far ahead and anticipate the enemy's next moves. After all, His Highness has already made an offer to become his personal pharmacist. Doesn't it seem like, considering this, such information looks quite convincing? As soon as the parents are involved, Princess Lotta will immediately strike, yes, their little one is just a genius. Calm down, Isaac. Everyone keep your mouths shut, especially Louis, and he? What, right away? When Louis returned to the garden, these bastards had already cleaned everything up and taken away all the plants. Perhaps they should start their investigation by finding the owner of that mansion. No matter how old the estate is, it must have an owner. Great idea, and in the meantime, they'll look for information on that slimy Hines. And since it is unknown when these scum will target his sister again, Ciel will be by her side. Don't worry, their brothers will be there too. Ciel won't fight off the villains with a comb. It would be great to get at least some useful information from the association. Then some unknown guy called out to the villainess, "Hey girl, it was Ciel who said that." The guy would like to ask the young lady for directions. He had already circled around here so many times. Even though she has 2 pigtails, she is not so young to be called a girl. And where is this guy trying to get to? He forgot. He can pretend that Ciel is not from around here. Here, the scoundrel suddenly applied a smelly rag to the girl's mouth. What the? The guy needs this little brat to go with him. That's disgusting. It was a real trap. Well, you got caught, poor thing. Ciel began to lose consciousness. Clara again noticed nothing. The identity of this man was confirmed by association. And what's the matter? This gentleman was already being looked for by security forces today. While Miss Valentine is not sure yet, it means that His Majesty has already taken measures. And where is Ciel? Clara has already been freed, but has not learned anything useful. The younger sister was nowhere to be found, but she couldn't leave without even telling Clara anything. Well, where are the sisters? They promised to come back quickly. Louis is so bored. It would be better if he went on the mission. The waiting is exhausting him. Stop whining already. Brother knows perfectly well why they all gathered here, and here is Clara. Wait a minute, why did this girl come alone? Where is their younger sister? Theo told them not to split up. Clara began to apologize. She doesn't know where Ciel is. That is, somehow they were nearby. Well, she didn't take Ciel with her and left her alone. She's making fun of her. They already have problems because of her. Louis is quieter. But she turned away for a moment. What should Clara do now? It's not about her at all, but about her sister. Something bad could happen to their little sister. We can't let that happen. Theo held Clara close. She needed to calm down. He would cast a tracking spell. He'll go first. Let Louis come to the place with Isaac when Theo sends them the coordinates. Clara should just do nothing, yeah. Stop causing problems. Let Louis calm down. Theo wanted to say that the main character would go with Theo. She also couldn't be left alone. The young man cannot leave Clara without protection. She is still needed by drug dealers. The main character wiped away her tears and came to her senses. She was again to blame for everything. She had no reason to blame herself, and now she needed to think about saving their sister, didn't she? What if something happens to Ciel? Then no one will forgive Clara. Why think about that? Her safety is more important. And not that Clara is afraid of general condemnation, and Ciel can get out with the help of magic. That's not quite true. If she was in real danger, her necklace would send a signal. Ciel is smart and strong, well, not like Clara. But where are these bastards taking them, Ciel? They have gone quite far. Let the little sister hold on and wait for her brother. Theo will take her soon. Meanwhile, the tied-up Villainess was dangling in the carriage. The girl finally began to come to her senses. How bad she feels now. She needs to get out of here before her gag reflex gets the better of her. Ciel can't believe she was kidnapped, and it's so obvious where they're going, taking so long. It remains to be hoped that, thanks to the necklace, Brother Theo will soon find out where she is. Here the crew braked sharply, and the girl fell heavily to the floor, hitting her head. Look, she will remember each of them. Stop, it seems she hears something. He heard male voices, he heard it. Apparently the little one woke up. Oh no. Ciel gave herself away when she cursed while falling. They're heading straight for her. The carriage door swung open, and a male silhouette loomed menacingly in front of Ciel. There were 2 guards at the fortress gates, and they did not let anyone inside. Here the sentries saw the approaching carriage. They had no orders. Let the travelers stop their carriage immediately and introduce themselves. Further passage is prohibited. Then the carriage door opened and the guard stepped back. Theo stuck his hand out and brought it to the guard's face. What the hell? Why did it get so dark? The second fool suffered the same fate as the first. They were here to find their little sister. And no one can stop the Valentines, every fool knows it. Apparently, there were only these unfortunate people outside the fortress. Everything was clean. The young master is going to go inside alone. Let the assistant wait for Theo here. Brothers Isaac and Louis should arrive soon, following the coordinates sent. The young man extended his hand to the main character. It was time for them to go. She was shaking. She was worried about Ciel, which she doubts now. The inside is much more spacious than expected, and this is where the signal comes from. Then a voice was heard asking for help. Theo and Clara immediately looked at each other. It was their voice. Ciel, Theo, like an enraged lion, burst into the room. The two surrounded the villainess and tried to pour something into her with a spoon. They both will greatly regret every move they made. What disgusting stuff was steaming in a teaspoon in front of his little sister's face? The veins on the young man's neck bulged. A grin appeared on his face. What was this rotten thing trying to do to Ciel? The frightened performers backed away and began to scream. Theo was relentless. They had crossed the line. And now they will pay if their brother is not stopped. He will burn everything here down. The villainess immediately ran forward and covered the two young men with herself. They don't know anything. Brother must stop. This is all a big misunderstanding, what? Emerald eyes lit up, seeing their sister alive and well. What did they want to do with her? Both fell to their knees and began to beg Mr. Valentine for mercy. They are just ignorant people from the village who came here to make money. What the hell is going on here? We were talking about drug dealers, and who are these cowards? Oh no, those two are coming? Why did the brother tie up that girl? They couldn't let her escape. But you can't treat a child like a parcel. You need to untie it and bring it inside. The road was not easy. It would be bad if the girl got hurt somewhere. Why is her brother so fussing over her? This child looks so much like an angel. Isn't it so, gods? This is the 5th time he's said this, but it really is true. She reminds them of their little brother back home. Why did the boss order them to kidnap a child in the first place? Well, her older brother came to deal with their boss and he destroyed the flower farm. She needs to save the flowers in the backyard, and when her older sister comes here, everything will be fine. Do these hired fools not even have a clue what kind of flowers are grown here? We need to gather information. Has the baby come to her senses? Where is she? What is happening? Just don't let her cry. The girl will write her name and address. Then her sister will take her. That is, they don't know what family she is from. Apparently this brown-haired guy is their leader. Let the brother keep an eye on things here and not create problems. In principle, Ciel can handle this herself. With the help of magic, they don't look like dangerous opponents. The little girl's handwriting is so neat. She is a good student and probably sings well. Why shouldn't the girl sing to him while they wait here for her sister? She's like a radio. However, the villainess will sing to this sentimental kidnapper on one condition. What is this green swill in that vat? Witches cook it in pretty much the same way. Let the baby eat the soup. It's special, you can tell. Ciel said she was hungry and didn't want to die. Those two are probably just bad cooks, but she really needs to eat. This is their regional soup. He and his brother love it. It makes hell feel like hell. And where did these two guys come from? They are from the eastern region. An important man received a rare flower, but it kept wilting, so the milord was worried. 5 years ago, this guy got injured and hasn't been the same since. You shouldn't say something like that in front of a child. Let him finish his soup. No need. The capricious girl needs to be fed, otherwise she won't be strong. Where is she breaking out to? Let the baby open her mouth quickly. This looks like a local form of torture. It even smells unbearable. That black-haired lady said to send the girl home without torture. So, kidnapping a child and keeping him away from home by force is no longer a crime. Parents know what these cretins do for a living, but there's no need to kill them. It would be better for the little sister to return. What is it that brother has planned? Here, Theo's face instantly changed. Cold sweat ran across him. What's going on? He's okay. Ciel immediately rushed to her brother. She would cover him. What was going on? What was going on? Here a nasty voice was heard. How unexpected, in such a place and such noble persons. And who is this mustachioed monster? The wretch forgot him. This is Count Reuben who? That nasty pig who was caught hiding secret documents on the day of Clara's debut. And then Louis punched that bastard when he attacked Ciel. The girl at least imagines what problems she brought him. His cowardice and rottenness are to blame for this. Ciel had already completely forgotten about that incident and what that guy was doing here. Wait, behind this greedy fool is Princess Lotta, so that's who's the puppeteer here. Clara helped Theo up. He's okay. We need to collect evidence of Lotta's involvement. The young man examined himself. His body was fine, but his magic was gone. When a mage's mana is sealed, he becomes useless. Theo liked the sealing ball. What are these idiots worth? Let them grab them. But they were ordered to let the rest go quietly. If these cowards want to get their money, they must silently follow orders. The performers looked at Clara. They felt sorry. They really were just flunkies. If the girl wants to save her family, then she should just follow the kidnappers. They just need this girl to grow flowers. They will bring in a lot of money. These idiots don't even understand what they're being paid for. And they have already earned themselves a prison term with one kidnapping. Otherwise, the whole world will find out that the youngest pharmacist is so stupid that she serenely grew drugs. And when this stupid girl herself arrived here, she won't be able to deny it. The main character will do what they want from her. Just let her family go. What the main character is doing, it will be intentional. They will cut off her head, but Clara has no choice. Since these idiots only use the sealing ball on Theo, they don't know that Ciel is also a mage. And with its powerful level of magic, this ball will only last for 5 minutes. What's the matter, Uncle? The Marquis of Romford threw Reuben out like trash back then, and that's the fate that awaits him anyway. The little brat is looking for his death, but the mustachioed pig has already found it. The bastard reached out his hand to the villainess. This will cost him dearly. Reuben immediately felt an unbearable and burning pain. This puppy is also a magician, she said. They are all useless and incapable of anything filth. As everyone in this empire knows, Ciel is the treasure of the Valentine family. That's why she was raised in such a way that no one would dare raise a hand against her and remain unpunished. A deafening explosion thundered in the old estate, and flames burst out into the street. This wasn't enough, and why can't the villain use her character's powers properly? Although she didn't expect the walls of the building to collapse, that bastard was still alive in there. The main character swallowed nervously. It seemed the villain had gone too far. Oh no, this worm is still alive, trying to get back on its feet. Well, it learned its lesson. Even though this puppy is a mage, Reuben won't let this brat live. So he'll deal with this girl right now. Theo bared his teeth. He'll tear him apart with his teeth even without magic for his sister. Then a lion's roar was heard in the room. Reuben approached in horror. His Highness, the Crown Prince. The future ruler slammed the bastard into the wall. He will personally break every bone in his body and feed him to the wolves for this girl and this family. Like Ciel, the girl was not harmed. Thanks to the Crown Prince, she avoided trouble again. What? Was it really that fat old man who was behind all this? He was cowardly and clumsy. Sworn enemy, Louis. This pig was thrown out of the house by his wife. He is useless trash to anyone. Let the little one come here. The old man is spitting all over here, squealing like a pig. Ciel would have bitten this freak's throat too, but they need information now. So let this old man live for now. Ciel is really not injured. Where did His Highness come from here? Why is he shaking her? Ciel is really fine. There isn't a single bruise on her. The girl is so happy that Alex came. If only she had used a little more magic, the whole house would have collapsed along with them. The main character hugged the girl tightly. Oh no, what is he doing to her? Alex will now hear her heartbeat. The young man is so glad that Ciel is now safe and nothing bad happened to her. The villainess could spend her whole life in these strong and tender embraces. She needs to pull herself together and control her feelings. Thanks to His Majesty, the capital of the empire will now be safe. They have covered the dangerous network. All the flowers were burned by the magical flame. Those two were so stupid that they really didn't know anything about drugs. Of course, the Crown Prince didn't want to solve the issue by jeopardizing Ciel's safety, so she volunteered to help. The girl looked at the two brothers from the eastern region. Ciel would have one request regarding this pair. The main character looked at the girl with surprise. And what are we going to talk about? They are still criminals. A mysterious smile appeared on the villainess's face. She needed to make the right move. Today's banquet is organized to reward those who caught troublemakers in the capital. It is a great honor for the son of the empire to have such a son. He is proud of his heir. Let the Crown Prince raise his head. The future ruler bowed on one knee and expressed gratitude for the honor bestowed upon him. It is the duty of the prince as the future ruler to protect his state and its inhabitants. Alex has a certain request. Despite the risks, one man entered right into the lair of criminals and played a key role in capturing the scoundrels. And it is this man who must be greeted and thanked for the valor he has shown. The villainess did everything to save the honor of the main character. No one should know about her recklessness. It is very interesting. And who is this valiant knight? This hero is Miss Clara from the Valentine family. The courtiers immediately began to whisper, but wasn't it their fault that this matter almost reached a huge scale? Apparently, even a worm has power. Since the Valentine's adopted daughter is capable of such a thing, the emperor interrupted the roar of the crowd. In recognition of her services, the emperor appoints Lady Clara as an honored guest of the imperial palace. But it would be inappropriate for the young lady to enter the palace alone without an escort, since the crown prince is still unmarried. What would his lordship's dear Ciel say? How about entering the palace with her older sister? The villainess immediately beamed with joy. Well, of course, the younger Lady Valentine would like this. It was an obvious answer, in which case Lady Ciel Valentine would henceforth be considered an honored guest in His Majesty's palace. The main character exchanged glances with the villain, both winked at each other. Everything went perfectly. The banquet is going just great. Many people participated in this whole process. Thanks to their union, everything worked out. However, the villainess has one significant and unresolved problem. This vile child of Princess Lotta is still haunting her. How sick and disrespectful of yourself do you have to be to follow a person who is disgusted by him everywhere? Since that incident at the Valentine estate, Ciel hadn't seen that freak, and she didn't want to at all. We need to get out of here quickly before something bad happens. And where is Ciel going, the damn stalker? If the sweet and charming Ciel wants to avoid people, then Seth can help her. She only wants to avoid him. The slippery young man's hand didn't even have time to touch Ciel's skin. His strong palm landed on her shoulder. Phew. The main character showed up on time again and saved the villain. What the hell is Lotta's vile offspring doing here? Nothing special. Ciel looked in the mood. Seth just wanted to help this delicate flower. Let him not make things up. It was Seth who was bothering Miss Valentine. He just wanted to see her off, like an old friend. Miss Ciel is an honored guest of His Majesty. She is under the guarantee of the Crown Prince, so she shouldn't even think about interfering. What's wrong with this character? This psycho is just obsessed with the villain of the novel. He should take tests and put him on pills. This will end badly. The main character extended his hand to the girl. She needn't worry about Seth anymore. His lordship will take Ciel to Miss Clara and her brother Theo. How is it that this beautiful young man always manages to appear at the most necessary and important moment? He seems to sense it. What was Ciel thinking about? Some thoughts clearly flashed in her eyes. Something was bothering her. Everything was fine. The girl is simply immensely grateful to the Crown Prince. He is incredible. She needs to stop thinking about Alex so much. Princess Lotta's son remained behind the two again, silently watching the couple with a displeased look. And Barnett doesn't think that this shade is too dark for Lady Ciel's private chambers. He should have chosen a different one. His Highness has already changed the color of the wall in Mrs. Valentine's bedroom 3 times, and it still doesn't suit. But this color is completely unsuitable. The shade should reflect Ciel's cheerfulness and brightness. The room for the Crown Princess has already been prepared. The Crown Prince's intentions will be perceived correctly. Elements of the Valentine estate were also taken into account. Perhaps Ciel would want to share a room with his sister. Burnett doesn't quite understand who the heir to the throne really cares about more. Lady Clara is a good and loyal friend to the Crown Prince, and he also wants to protect her. Besides, he and the elder Lady Valentine have some common interests. After the ball, Alex often discussed Ciel with Clara. It was important for him to understand how to get closer to her. The main character suggested that the Crown Prince send Ciel's letter along with his own. If the future ruler wants to know more about the younger sister and get closer to her, it is indeed a good idea. The younger sister is a very kind and sympathetic person. Also fearless, she will even go to the battlefield for her loved ones. Without Ciel's help, the whole company would really have a hard time. She does a lot for the common good. Apparently, His Highness is really very attached to Lady Ciel, which is not the right word. So we are talking about heartfelt gusts. It means the future ruler loves young Ciel. This is a very loud statement. How the future ruler blushed. It was so sweet, that's all. Burnett won't ask him anymore. In any case, his lordship wants everything here to be perfect for Ciel, so that she feels good here. After all, very soon the main character will be able to enjoy Ciel's company much more often. However, it must be understood that an alliance with the Valentine family will provoke a new wave among his enemies. Ciel is like the sun, shining a bright light even into the darkest corners. She is like a guiding star. The heir to the throne's cheeks immediately turned red, Ciel taking up more and more thoughts in his head. Once this girl enters the imperial palace, the atmosphere inside will immediately change. Meanwhile, a female scream was heard in the valley. Ciel completely lost her balance and control. She was about to fall. She continued to train in magical practices with her beloved dad, but she would never reach his greatness. Duke Valentine is the most powerful mage in the Empire. Ciel failed again, but there is a lake below. She will not be harmed. Of course, she will never become as powerful, but she needs to understand and learn to control this power. Besides, the villainess is not at all used to giving up. She needs to continue training. Seal waved her magic wand. The more practice, the more progress she made. Duke Valentine is by nature an outstanding individual in everything, without exaggeration, and such a man is teaching her. The baby is fine. She will succeed. You need to feel the magic and merge with it. It's just a matter of practice. The villain was able to fly today anyway, which is already a huge achievement for her. Daddy bought this place specifically to train his daughter, and weren't there magical beasts among the plum trees? Since the barrier stone was broken, they have disappeared. The main thing is not to provoke them. If you meet them, it's not scary with Daddy Ciel. So it wasn't the wind, but Ciel's attempts to fly. When Louis arrived, it was already too late. He was asked to take his father. Dad always spent more time with his daughter. Louis also wants to. Ciel will leave soon, and they will continue their training. The older brother pouted. His sister would live in the palace, and Louis would stay with his father. His attention would be enough for all the children. Ciel promises to give Louis a great training session with Dad, oh well. It's just that the father is now very worried that his youngest daughter can blow up the castle in a couple of minutes. A few days ago, their younger sister went on such a trip. The journey to the villa will take 3 days. And when Ciel goes to the palace 2 weeks after this trip, did they really have so little time left so brother Louis showed his affection for their Ciel? The beloved brothers have nothing to worry about because they both know why Ciel is going to the palace. And is there anyone who could do a better job of taking care of Clara than Ciel? There really is no arguing with that. In the original, Ciel was the one who helped Clara escape from Lotta's net, but at the time, she simply didn't want her to be the next princess. Now even the villain cannot guarantee the safety of the main character the clouds are gathering. Louis snorted in displeasure. Maybe he should refuse to support the crown prince. Why would he do that? No way. In that case, Lotta's vile son will become fearless and attack their Ciel again, okay? Ciel needs brother Louis' help. Strange movements may begin outside the palace now. Let Louis report something like this through their brother Isaac. That is, he just needs to watch for Lotta's worries. To make things easier for her brother, Ciel prepared a list of people for him to look at their names. It's very thoughtful, but how is Louis supposed to handle this alone? Does he look like an octoplet? And who said that brother should carry out the task alone? Louis has many friends. That's what Ciel is talking about. Backstreet friends, for example. How does the little one know Theo said he would allocate funds? So let him try. The young lady is truly impressive. So few classes have passed and she can already fly to her room. Surely, drying the girl's hair every time irritates the maid. Her patience is much more impressive. Miss Valentine has very soft and pleasant hair. It is only a joy for the maid. Maybe she will be able to conjure wind from the villain. The girl had been mastering the magic of flight all this time, and it is built on the element of air. You should at least try. A gust of wind has ruined Ciel's freshly styled hair. Well, there you go. However, the lady's hair is completely dry. It would be great to make magic tools using this principle. However, making magical enchantments is dangerous. The mistress should not do anything dangerous. As for Mom and Dad, Marquis Baldur passed away in the south, so they had to rush to the capital. It will take them a few days to arrive, but Ciel wants to learn more from his beloved dad. From tomorrow, Louis and Ciel will start training together with Theo. It sounds like a threat. It became somehow creepy. The brother and sister looked at each other. They were guilty of something. Of course, Theo, despite his age, was already an outstanding magician, just like his dad, and for some reason, Louis began to rejoice because he so wanted to learn magic from their father. By the way, brother Isaac can teach Clara self-defense skills at this time, which is very timely. Theo can really teach the kids a lot, and it's easier for him to convey the theory, since he himself has recently been through it. By the way, since the parents are not at home, it's high time to have a pajama party. That is, a shared sleepover. How about everyone sleeping in the big bedroom together? They see each other so little these days. What nonsense. They all grew up and became adults long ago. It's just disgusting. In that case, let the adult Louis choose any separate room for himself. One will be enough for all of them. That is, they all want to keep Louis. He is small, always works, and will still be with his family. In that case, the servants will prepare the largest bedroom for the Valentine children, which is ideal. Then the maid Ciel burst into the dining room. What's going on? Why is Meryl's face so blank? Something happened. Things are very bad. What's going on there? A carriage with an uninvited guest has arrived outside. Louis immediately jumped to the window. Now was not the most peaceful time for uninvited guests to visit. Well, what is it? Why is the brother frozen? After all, everyone is also interested in finding out who this guest is. The fact is that the imperial coat of arms is engraved on the carriage, which means there are several options. Princess Lotta's son received a message asking him to return to the capital, but what is the reason? As already, but they just arrived, apparently Marquis Baldur died, everyone is preparing for the funeral. People close enough to Marquis Baldur will gather to honor his memory. What the heck? Suddenly a strong wind rose up, and a magical mark appeared above the character's head right in the air. Someone used teleportation magic right here, judging by the power. It must be Duke Valentine. Duke Valentine was also notified of such a sad event, which means that Ciel is now left alone in the estate. Seth doesn't care. Let the servants tell him that he is wounded and won't go anywhere. He has other plans. 3 brothers stood menacingly in front of the family estate. What is needed here? Princess Lotta's son fell off his horse while riding and needs help, and the Valentines have something to do with it. And what the Archduke was doing near the Valentine lands is not important. There are good hunting grounds nearby. Theo became gloomier than a cloud. Seth forced his escort to lie. He is also a hostage to the situation. This brat even clumsily pretended to fall out of the saddle of his horse, although he had been sitting in it perfectly since he was 5 years old. It is very interesting what his mother, Princess Lotta, will say about this, and why this boy needed to come here. Treatment first of all, as a representative of the noblest family, the eldest son cannot refuse this. Seth values the kindness of this house so much, they can't help but let the wounded Archduke into their home. And now that this nasty worm is already in their estate, it would be stupid to simply avoid it. But leaving this slug alone with his little sister is dangerous. The little brother and his other brother will be nearby, right? If that guy does anything, let Ciel blow his head off with magic, then they might lose their home. Well, what can you do? The villain will have to talk to him. Ciel knocked, and Seth was just waiting for her. The Duke knew it. The cutie came here because she was worried about him. His horse had hit him hard. And in general, it all looks very strange to fall from a horse at his age and position. However, Seth himself believes that his fall was for the best. Who would doubt it? Now they will finally be able to talk normally alone. Seth missed his Ciel so much. So what made Princess Lotta's son go to such shame in order to get closer to the girl? What a shame. It was an accident. And what kind of formal tone is this? Ciel was not like that at all before. What does this concerned stalker keep talking about? The girl doesn't remember anything like that. This is so depressing for Seth. Could his sweet Ciel really have managed to forget everything? His stupid expression makes the villain feel guilty, because she really doesn't remember anything. Why did Ciel decide to enter the Imperial Palace? What is Seth doing? He is wounded. Where is he standing? Let the girl answer him. This has nothing to do with the fact that his Ciel decided to become the crown princess. I was completely stunned, although to others it might really look like a lady-in-waiting is using her sister to get the future ruler, a plot fit for the infamous villain of this novel. Well, this is one of the ways to observe everything from the inside. Then maybe Ciel uses Seth. What is this psychopath even talking about? Of course, Ciel's heart beats next to Alex's, but she doesn't aim to be a princess. And even more so, she never even thought about harming the main character, just not him. Never. What the hell? The villain doesn't think Alex really did it again. Does he have telekinesis or something? Princess Lotta's son is going hunting to catch the moment when Duke Valentine leaves the estate. And these hunting grounds are in obvious proximity to the Valentine mansion. What a vile bastard. The main character knew that this patient had not been making inquiries for no reason lately. The Crown Prince came here to prevent the Valentine estate from absorbing this rot. A little more and Alex will blow up Seth's head with the power of thought. His Majesty visited them very timely. The girl also doesn't understand that she has a chip sewn somewhere under her skin. How will Alex know at what moment she needs it so much? Clara will take care of the Archduke's treatment, while Ciel will escort the heir to the throne. Theo has provided her with an escape route. Ciel immediately grabbed the Crown Prince's hand. She would gladly take him to where the two were going again. Let Seth get better. Clara is an excellent healer. No one will leave her sick. Why is his Ciel chirping like that again next to Alex? And it's her gaze. It seems to shine next to him. Where is Seth going? He can't move. His wound could get worse. And what's that unbearable smell? This is a special medicine. It contains chicken droppings. After it, the young man will quickly recover. What? No. He needs to go there to Ciel. She is once again indebted to the handsome young man. He is truly her hero. How could Alex leave Ciel in trouble? The girl's cheeks immediately flushed, which meant the main character was thinking about her and worried about her well-being. Well, of course, how can he not think about Ciel? Alex immediately blushed. That is, they are good friends. The emerald eyes immediately dropped in disappointment, and why was it so unpleasant for her to hear this? She had given herself as if. No feelings, especially towards this enslaving hero, but this is apparently impossible. Well, yes, they are allies. However, the lie could not cover up the girl's pain. Her heart was betrayed by longing and resentment. Well, what did she think up there? How could such a young man have feelings for a villain? It's impossible. Something happened. Ciel suddenly began to look upset. It was just that His Majesty should go and rest already. The girl turned away instantly and ran away. What was that? She was so stupid. Seth is now trying to expand his influence on the orders of his mother. Alex is watching him, and in principle, he will always help. Because Alex is beautiful in both body and soul, Ciel was so happy when she saw him. She missed him so much. Since the matter of moving to the Imperial Palace was decided, Sir Isaac wanted to ask something. The emerald eyes flashed with a threat, asking what His Highness's intentions were towards his little sister. The protagonist didn't even blink, accepting the threat with cold calm. Isaac loves Ciel immensely. It's understandable. Clara just asked to collect some medicinal herbs here, and the boys already started a fight. The young men responded in unison that they were not fighting. They were like children making excuses to their mother. So Brother Isaac accidentally swung his huge sword towards His Majesty. Everything is fine, of course. As an older brother, Isaac has the right to worry about his sister. Let them collect herbs instead. The Crown Prince only needs to cut the vine. Its outer shell is hard. The elder brother mode is activated. This shouldn't go on like this, because very soon the girls will move to the Imperial Palace, and they are all one team. The two pretend nothing happened and just silently cut the grapevine like little children. Well, these guys have a lot more in common than they think, so why do they both care about Ciel so much? Well, she is incredibly sweet, radiant, kind, beautiful, sympathetic, gentle, caring. Yes, yes. The gazes of two admiring young men met. Brotherly love and the budding feelings of a young man. Ciel's eyes sparkle so much when she's interested in something. She yawns very cutely, and she likes to stretch her arms 3 times a day. The baby loves clothes with ribbons. What will the Crown Prince say about this? It is worth telling the palace tailor about this. Ciel likes herbal tea before bed, but not too hot. And her pillow should be made of soft merino wool. Alex repeated word for word. He understood everything. As expected from a beloved brother, Ciel was very lucky with his family. Isaac's cheeks immediately flushed. The Crown Prince appreciated his concern for Ciel. It was touching. This is the basic settings of the big brother. Let him tell Louis about it, and in general now we should worry about Seth. Because of the gala ball, the court nobility believes that Lady Ciel and the Crown Prince are in a relationship. But the good thing about this situation is that Princess Lotta won't be able to force Ciel to be with her son by her own will. This way, Alex can maintain his crowned position, and their sister can avoid Seth's attention. But to be honest, Isaac also thought that Alex and Ciel liked each other. But since their alliance is caused only by business and their common interests, Isaac is forced to apologize to the Crown Prince. Ciel's older brother would also be happy with their cooperation. But how could that be? Clara was sure that Alex had feelings for his sister. Did the girl really misunderstand the young man? Here the main character raised his index finger to his mouth. Oh no, but His Highness will definitely be able to cope with the consequences. Isaac will definitely remember their conversation. The first proposal failed because Ciel was too young and suggested friendship instead of marriage. Then she made her debut, which was a chance for other young aristocrats to get closer to Ciel. However, Alex then invited her to the palace, thereby preventing others from touching Ciel, even though it looks like a political alliance. Once Isaac finds out about Alex's true feelings, there will be a scandal, and Ciel herself thinks that the Crown Prince is not interested in her. The younger sister definitely thinks that this is all for the sake of a profitable union. They will talk about this later. The main character began to speak more quietly, and with an unperturbed look. There were still a lot of grapevines in that direction. Clara will never forget that she is an outsider in the Valentine family, but they consider her their own, a part of their family. And it is the younger sister's merit that, although Ciel is not related to her by blood, she did everything to make Clara happy. Therefore, the main character assures the Crown Prince that she will repay her debt. If someone offends her, Clara won't care about the offender's title, Ciel. Even if this man has royal blood, Clara will not let anyone harm her sister and will repay her with the same unconditional love. Here, the conversation between the two main characters was interrupted by a deafening explosion. What was that? It was not far from them. Wait a minute, isn't that the direction Louis and Ciel should be training in right now? Then a frightened peasant ran out. A demon appeared on the rock. The villagers needed to be evacuated immediately. Isaac immediately ran to his sister, telling Clara to immediately go to the mansion with the others. How can she go to a safe place knowing that her sister and little brother are in danger? Then Theo's soft voice was heard. He was carrying Louis on his back. All the brothers were safe. What happened to Louis? Is his brother really wounded? There's no need to worry, he's safe and sound, he just fainted. Clara is glad that all the brothers are safe, but where is their seal Theo taught not only Louis? Emerald eyes flashed painfully. Everything happened very quickly. It seemed that Theo had lost Ciel. The protagonist's face instantly changed. Steel sounded in his voice. Alex goes after her. But His Highness cannot risk his life. The Crown Prince said everything, where Ciel was last seen. In this case, they will need a magic necklace to search. Theo will help the Crown Prince. The main character clutched a magical artifact in his hand. It will destroy all the rocks and surrounding areas. He will find her. Clara looked at Theo with fear she couldn't let the Crown Prince go alone. Theo gently pulled her back. She shouldn't worry. The main character doesn't understand why Theo is so calm. And why didn't he go look for their sister? He would have been the first to rush to search. The young Villainess was left alone, very good. There was no one else here except her. The girl held out a magic wand in front of her. Now Levitan will listen to her. So today their training will be different from the usual, but the little sister will cope. But Ciel didn't know that magical creatures lived in the rocks, so she blew everything up. Theo would definitely be able to handle a whole horde of such magical monsters, but she is so far from her brother. Therefore it will be dangerous to provoke magical predators now. It is the Villainess's fault. This means that she is also responsible for what is happening. We need to find a solution with the least damage. Ciel asks her brother to let her solve this problem on her own. Let Theo evacuate people. Emerald eyes flashed. A smile and pride for her sister appeared on her face. Theo is glad that his sister is learning to take responsibility and solve problems instead of running away. This is a teleportation scroll. In case of danger, Ciel can always move to a safe place. Their brother passed out while practicing his flying. They won't joke about him much. Louis is a sensitive guy. Theo picked his brother up from the ground and threw Louis's arm around his neck. It was time for them to move. The Villainess soared into the air, so she roughly assessed the area. Because all the residents were evacuated, yes. You must not use your unbridled magical power if people are seen nearby. They could get hurt, and that's in the best case scenario. Then a cobblestone flew towards the girl. What the... Below, the furious roar of magical predators was heard. Wow, these werewolves can really throw rocks from that distance. Ciel is a villain in the story, but she didn't really do anything special, except for the fact that she thoughtlessly destroyed their home. And what's this? Why does Ciel hear the sounds of horse hooves? Everyone should have left the valley. The main character sent his faithful steed to the very epicenter, and there are so many monsters here. A familiar velvety voice began to call the villain. 1 minute, it's Alex's voice. Ciel was floating in the air right above the handsome young man. It was crazy what the Crown Prince was doing here. She asked Theo to give her the opportunity to cope on her own, and now the main character is in danger. The future ruler reached the slope and jumped off his horse. Ciel immediately flew up to the young man. What is Alex doing here? Her heart almost stopped when she saw him surrounded by those monsters. Ciel was so worried about the prince, Alex wasn't hurt anywhere. The main character immediately hugged the girl to himself. Alex was worried about her. What a relief that Ciel is safe. My heart is at peace. This beautiful young man is not for them anyway. It is becoming increasingly difficult to hide and drown your feelings for this hero. They are growing stronger each time, as if to spite you. Ciel pulled away with restraint and asked again what His Highness was doing here. The girl could get hurt, just like Alex himself, so let him take the teleportation scroll and go home. And how can the main character return to the mansion alone, leaving Ciel here all alone? The villain stayed here for this very reason. She will cope with everything. Alex must believe in her and in her. The main character would be better off listening, staying close to someone who has poor control over her power, much more dangerous than monsters. Ciel would never forgive herself if she harmed this young man, so the Crown Prince leaves her no choice. If the heir to the throne does not return to the mansion alone immediately, then Ciel will not return to the Imperial Palace. What? Yes. Yes, the future ruler understood everything correctly. This is real blackmail. So let the Crown Prince take his steed and go. The Villainess put the bundle in the horse's mouth. The contented stallion began to chew on the magic scroll. This was not the smartest idea. What, this is a horse, not a goat, so why is this glutton gobbling up paper? The majestic stallion teleported instantly. No. Where did this glutton go without his rider? Meanwhile, the stallion was finishing the scroll in the mansion. And where is his majesty? What kind of an idiot is she? CL can't even use flight magic on the main character. Threatening roars began to be heard around the young people. Monsters were surrounding them. The main character covered the girl with himself. He will protect CL even at the cost of his own life. No matter how strong the Crown Prince is, he cannot cope with his horde of magical predators. If there is a spell that will make these werewolves retreat without harming His Highness. We need to remember everything that the villain's father and older brother taught her. There must be a way out. When flying across lakes, my brother advised falling into the water to avoid injury. However, Louis added that if the force is not controlled, the water can carry it away with the current. The northern currents pass through here. They are fast and cold. CL will be trapped and will not cope. For such a pressure of water, she will be like a rat, which will never cope with the turbulent flow. And here is the solution. The girl has a plan. The Crown Prince must trust her. What plan are we talking about? CL is sure that it is a good and safe idea. The plan, of course, is not ideal and was thought up on the fly, and it will be very wet, but there are no other ideas. Because the villain lacks imagination, she does not fully understand how to use magic. The girl concentrated and began to draw circles in the air. She should cause a downpour. The whole sky was covered with black clouds. A clap of thunder rumbled, and an icy downpour drenched the ground. The main character raised his head to the sky, and cold drops of rain immediately fell on his face. This is the magic of the elements. The magical predators began to whine and retreat. The storm clearly frightened them. What is this? Are the monsters just retreating like that? They really did it. The Crown Prince looked at CL with concern. Was she okay? What did she just do? The rain is coming down much harder than CL had planned, but she still manages to cope. She feels so calm next to him, as if she is capable of anything, taking the hand of this young man. They both immediately blushed. They should hurry back while they still had time. It's really amazing. CL has been using magic for a long time, but it's still raining. And now the main problem is that the elements can flood everything around. It's good that this cave was nearby. Now it's unknown when the rain will end. Apparently she used too much magic, which means CL is exhausted and needs rest and peace. Yes, everything is fine. Alex will figure out how to light a fire now. He will not let her catch a cold. Literally a couple of minutes later, a fire was crackling comfortably in the cold cave. The main character is really good at everything. How painful it is to know that he will never be hers. Here, the girl's attention was drawn to the movements of the Crown Prince, and her cheeks instantly turned red. What the hell? Is it possible to be so perfect? What is he doing? CL will go crazy here. It's illegal to be so dazzling. He looks like he's cast from marble. Why does CL look like that, really? Why did the young man suddenly decide to undress? If someone notices them, they will both be in trouble. If your clothes get wet, you need to dry them to avoid catching a cold. The villain can use magic to dry clothes. She tried to dry them little by little. If only she had a chance with this wonderful young man. The girl continues to stare at the Crown Prince. And yes, she needs to pull herself together. It's all written on her face. The girl's clothes are already completely dry, but her skin is burning. Apparently, CL has a fever. Oh yes, and Alex is to blame for this. Oh no, now that perfect chiseled body was dangerously close to CL. Perhaps His Highness had better put on his shirt. He won't get warm that way. But there are drafts here. Alex trains regularly. Everything is fine. But the Villainess is not doing well at all. Why does Alex have such an effect on her? And why did the young man himself turn red? He also has a fever. The main character sighed heavily. It wasn't because he was feeling unwell. In that case, let the Crown Prince lie down, Sale pointed to her knees. But he also needs to come to his senses and warm up his body. He's already starting to shiver. And here is the beautiful and beloved hero lying on CL's lap with his torso bare. Who should she thank for this? Each of his facial features reflects not only his external beauty, but also his nobility, dignity, and spirit. For him, this hero is wonderful. He fully justifies the role assigned to him. Why did CL suddenly start smiling? What a fool. Alex sees everything, but it's just a little awkward. To be honest, this is a new and strange experience for the main character, for sure. After all, no one in the palace treated the heir to the throne with kindness. He will remember such a warm little thing. The girl began to run her fingers through Alex's tar-black hair, and he immediately relaxed. Let all his worries leave him. Let him be happy. She would really like that. Seal really wants to believe that after they became friends, the Crown Prince became less lonely. The girl asks Alex to close his eyes and sleep. It will be difficult to move if his body does not rest. She would like nothing more than happiness for this young man. Alex reached out his hand to the villainess's face. The crown prince would never leave Ciel in danger, she knows that. To be honest, after hearing what happened, the young man was very scared for her. He returned from the battlefield. I wonder what the main character of the novel could really be afraid of, because he can handle anything. And now the main character must let go of all his worries and thoughts, and let the young man just sleep, give his mind and body the long-awaited peace and comfort, and Ciel will be next to him all the time. The two young men were emotionally exhausted and quickly fell into a deep sleep. The natural disaster soon ended, and the couple were quickly found in a nearby cave. Theo didn't expect the rain to scare away the monsters, but his sister dealt with it in an interesting way. Here the elder brother finally noticed that His Highness was lying shirtless on his sister's lap. It's a good thing it wasn't Isaac. The crown prince had a high fever and they fell asleep holding hands. It's time for His Highness to wake up. Brother Theo is here. They can get out of here. After all, an older brother is an older brother. Theo was tense, although he tried to hide it. However, this was getting worse and worse for his brother. With each passing minute, the crown prince immediately jumped up from Ciel's lap. Theo became darker than a cloud. There was steel in his voice. His Majesty values his sister. But this is rude. Alex had nothing like that in his thoughts. They hid from the rain and dried their clothes. The day was busy, so they fell asleep here. His Majesty's fever has completely subsided. This is excellent news. These two are acting like an ashamed couple. Since the heir to the throne is in good shape, Ciel can already keep a decent distance from Alex, right? Overall, the sister did a good job. She was able to defeat the monsters and cause minimal damage. Well, if we put aside the fact that it's all her fault, and it was Ciel who destroyed their home, then she's a good girl, yes. There's no need to show sympathy to those who harm people, grumbling. But with love, that's all Theo. In any case, the search team will soon bring the horses. It's good that everyone is finally dressed. Now the crown prince understood everything. It was a deliberate removal. Ciel would have managed without Alex. And why did the young man suddenly decide that she was weak? After all, Ciel had protected him since childhood without fear in her eyes. And to be honest, Ciel has always been stronger than the main character. But even so, the crown prince cannot help but worry about her. His Highness should hurry. Not a word to Isaac. Isaac dealt with all the magical predators in the area. How lucky Ciel is to have the best brothers in the world. No one was seriously injured, so everyone can stay in the mansion today. What's going on here? What's that worried noise, and why is there such a crowd lined up here? What is this guy doing here? The Archduke will go look for Ciel. Let him learn how to ride in the saddle first. And in general, no one needs Princess Lotta's child there. Well, here comes that stalker again. He's restless. Seth wants to see Ciel. It's clear to them where his seal is. Let the heir hold his tongue if he doesn't want to lose him. Here, the Archduke saw Villainess among the crowd. She greeted him with a cold and distant look. Dear Ciel is fine. Seth heard that a monster appeared here, but what about the injury? Is he really healthy already? Let him stay away. Ciel is very tired. She needs to rest and come to her senses. Seeing the main character, Seth immediately grimaced, wondering why Alex was standing next to Ciel again. Seth really wants to know this. If Ciel doesn't intervene right now, there will be chaos. The girl must speak alone with Princess Lotta's son. Then Isaac spoke up. That nasty slug shouldn't be near their Ciel. It's okay to look at His Majesty like that. He won't eavesdrop on their conversation. Ciel will use his combat magic when necessary, and they will be nearby. Isaac has nothing to worry about. It's terrible to stand like this and not know what these two are talking about. Seth suggested using it to become the crown princess earlier, didn't he? That's great. It means that Ciel has already decided everything. She will become a guest in his castle. She has an obvious problem with understanding him. In fact, the girl has not yet decided whether to take advantage of such a convenient opportunity. Breaking into someone else's house during a break without following a request to be quiet. Why should a girl trust the Archduke if he only causes her trouble? This is what makes Ciel doubt. He is neither reliable nor noble. But the princess's son is worried about Ciel. He should know everything about her, but she doesn't share it with him. It's silly to worry about the one who made a horde of monsters retreat with one wave of her hand. Seth doesn't think so. She can stand up for herself. Hurricanes are given female names for a reason. So if you convince Ciel, she will accept Seth's offer. It's difficult to give an answer right now. If the Valentine heiress suddenly has a desire to become a crowned princess, there is another option. Why would she choose an archduke to carry out this plan, right? Anyone will choose the best option for themselves, worthy and pious. Seth is not one of them. Well, Duchess Valentine didn't expect so many interesting things to happen while she and her husband were away. That day, Ciel played the villain for the first time, angering Lotta's heir to no end. It's very exhausting to be mean, but the girl won't talk about it. As the parents went to the capital, the new Marquis is the second son, so he has no relation to the title. The woman who became the Marquise's wife overnight was terrified throughout the ceremony. So it's not really interesting. Valentine's Day is coming soon. By the way, their baby is good at magic, as they say. Mother has never seen her daughter's new skills. She will definitely show them when she is ready. Poor Louis. The carriage was shaking so much he's been vomiting for about 10 minutes now, but he's made serious progress in magic. Mrs. Lisbon took such good care of the mansion while the Duke and Duchess were away. Louis stood up. He looked unwell. Maybe he ate ipecac. The maid decorated the young lady's room. What a pity that she will soon leave, but it will not be for long. The maid wanted to say something else, but she rarely turned away. She would go collect Lady Ciel's things. What was it? What strange feeling suddenly began to shrink inside the girl? Of course, it's normal for everyone to be worried about Ciel leaving, but there's clearly something more behind it. Mother will allow her daughter everything, just let her not go into the Imperial Palace. What nonsense. Mom is just worried. She worries even when she's around. Ciel will come back when she sees that everything is okay with her sister. If Meryl goes to the palace with Ciel, then Mother won't have anything to worry about, right? Indeed, her personal assistant has been with her daughter for a long time now, so she can sleep peacefully. In that case, Meryl will go and do the laundry. There is still so much to do before leaving. All the children grew up so quickly, and now the Duchess is left alone. Ciel still has a lot to do. It won't be for long. She'll still return to the family nest, although she would also be lonely. And here comes my beloved daddy. As soon as his precious daughter appears in the palace, the court nobility will not calm down. What are the parents talking about? The Duchess should take her daughter to the royal lady's castle. What? But the Villainess hasn't even made her debut in high society, yet you can't just ignore the royal lady's order. Debutantes usually receive invitations, but before the debut, a girl may be invited by a royal lady. She is responsible for training the young debutante before her debut into society. And unfortunately, one order from the royal lady is enough to take her daughter to her. And since the sweet daughter will now be under the care of the imperial family in their palace, she cannot refuse. Many people visit the palace just to curry favor with the royal lady. The parents are worried about the rumors, but Ciel can't go there without knowing what will be waiting for her there. Since not all the characters in the novel were mentioned, what if Ciel ruins the new plot? Those ladies are real monsters. She even splashed water on them once, and one of them poisoned the tea and blamed it on Ciel. Let the parents not worry. Their daughter will be able to tolerate the royal lady. Now she will accept anything. The little girl has nothing to worry about. Who would dare to bring trouble to the Valentine's jewels? But if this happens, then all of Ciel's uncles, the previous duke, all of the cousins and sons will come to avenge their girl. Everyone is already afraid of their family. Ciel will be able to cope on her own. No one will dare to offend her. The father lifted the tip of his daughter's nose with his finger. She was already so big, and yet she had promised him that she would never grow up. And let the little girl not forget that their ancestral magic is always connected to each other. However, the father is worried that their relatives could still raise the capital. After all, everyone adores Ciel, even if her father doesn't ask. For her sake, they can even organize a revolution. Why not? How beautiful this world is. The rays of the welcoming sun promised a new and good day. How quickly children grow, because just recently they were so tiny. Clara has become a real beauty. And as the blonde angel Isaac matured, he became a real man of the Valentine family with a captivating, soft strength. How proud Mother is of her little chicks, and now her grown-up children will soon be leaving. The main character is so grateful to her family for raising her and loving her all this time. But that's how it should be. Parents should take care of their children. She will understand this too one day. Thanks to the girl for letting me watch her grow up. These are precious years for the Duchess, and Mother is so happy and proud to be around. The Duchess gently pulled Clara towards her, her very grown-up girl. How could this have happened? The main character should know that if she gets tired, she can always return home. Clara must remember that this place will always be her home, as will the people in it. The future ruler came out to greet the Valentine family personally. He was grateful for their visit. And Duke Valentine thanks the Crown Prince for inviting them to the cheetah. The two young people's eyes met. They were both glad to see each other after their last meeting. The Villainess is about to enter the Imperial Palace and will be able to see the handsome young man more often. His Highness invited everyone to come into the palace. He can't wait to show his efforts to Ciel. The main character will show the private quarters where the guests will be accommodated. Seal looked around the first room in amazement. This room was so spacious and bright. Alex had tried so hard for them. His lordship had really taken pains to make the bedrooms resemble their rooms at the Valentine estate. Mother is most concerned about the presence of a dressing room. Well, of course, let the Duchess follow the Crown Prince. Will Seal really live in this luxury? Everything here is prepared as if just for her, just perfect. And what is this inconspicuous door? It is an emergency exit from the private quarters. It is rarely used. Duke Valentine can't help but notice that his beloved Ciel's bedroom was created with much more care. It's just amazing. Everything is decorated according to Ciel's tastes, even her merino wool pillow. What will Lady Valentine say? How is her room? How? But there is no word to describe her delight in full. Ciel's private quarters are so big there might be ghosts in there. Can she share a room with the Crown Prince? Well, if Miss Valentine asks for this, then the Crown Prince simply has no other choice. It worked. Let the maid give His Majesty the key. It is needed for the girl's safety. This key is a spare one. It is for the emergency exit. This door can be opened at any time. The main character is so caring and attentive, nothing is scary around him. The villainess looked inside. So where does this separate door lead? It is quite dark in the corridor. So begins a new chapter in the life of Ciel Valentine. What awaits her in the plot and the rest of the characters will soon become known.